All right, students, class is in session. There we go. So, Mages of Strixhaven. This is going to be a new book coming to D&D from Wizards of the Coast as a crossover between Magic the Gathering and D&D. So, we have a series of colleges here that are going to be available for you to take as either a bard, a wizard, or a warlock. So my initial thoughts on this are, I'm excited for this mechanic, right? I'm excited for the kind of design space that this is going to open up, right? I think that this is a really, really interesting idea in how to handle subclasses. In a way, it reminds me a lot of like prestige classes. I was initially, like, my first thoughts on it were like, okay, if we're going to do prestige classes, this kind of feels like that with some extra steps. But the scaling is going to be differently. It's not going to offer you the same level of power every level like we saw with prestige classes. This is instead going to be substituting your subclass choice. So this means something different for each of these different classes. The subclass structure that we see for Bard, Wizard, and Warlock is very, very different. And kind of grouping them all into this, they're going to have to handle this very carefully. I think we can see there's some pretty interesting ideas happening here. I don't know that this is how it's going to appear in an official book. In fact, I'm going to go so far as to say that from what I've heard so far, this is a very, very, very rough go at it. But I do like the idea, and I think that they could refine it to a point where it's going to be just as fine. It says in here, you know, power level, these could be stronger or less strong than the options in the player's handbook. It'll go through another design pass. I think that there's a way that they can do this to where they're going to be fine with the stuff in the player's handbook. But yeah, so let's get into this. Yeah, 25 in chat, 7 likes. Hey, thanks, Not a Dog. Yeah, guys, if you like the stream, you like my style of review, you know, I am a platinum best-selling character option designer over on the Dungeon Masters Guild. I'm looking at this as someone that's done a lot of like design work for D&D in a homebrew capacity. So if you like my review style, hey, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Go check out my work over on Patreon if you want to get some D&D exclusive content that I design. And then if you really like my work, go check my stuff out over on the Dungeon Masters Guild. My merchant and dancer classes are available over there. And I'm currently working on a new Scion class with Dan Felder right now from Blizzard and EA. So, yeah. Chat is super, super busy today. 34 viewers. Thank you all so much for being here. Like, I love the overall idea, but I didn't think it works. I think the ones given aren't that great. We'll talk about that. Hey, thank you so much, Davey. I really appreciate that. I think the dancer is like one of my favorite things I've ever created, like in D&D. Yeah. It's a cool concept, but I don't know how well the 5e class structure is suited to it. I think that something here could work. I think that some of the ideas here could totally work. I'm someone that I really love experimental design. I absolutely love whenever you're taking the system and seeing what you can do to kind of mess with it a little bit. Not really break it, but hey, thanks for subscribing. Handle Lucifer. Yeah, thanks for being here. I will embrace anything that's going to make us think a little bit more, anything that's going to make us think differently about character creation, right? What they have here is a really, really cool idea. I do like this, but there are some concerns that I think we should talk about here. So starting off in these, what can you do? If you go Bard, Wizard, or Warlock, instead of taking your subclass option, you can take one of these. So you can choose the subclass only once, with your character's class. Yeah, there we go. If you choose the subclass only once, even if you multi-class into another class that is also compatible with the subclass. How the subclass manifests in your character story is up to you. Perhaps your sorcerer's innate spark of elemental magic has been determinately owned by this schooling ever since they first showed arcane potential, or your warlock eschewed their patron's usual boons for learning these more esoteric manifestations of power. Maybe your druid chose to attend university instead of joining a druidic circle, or your wizard balked at a traditional apprenticeship in favor of newfangled neuromancy. I love the idea here, right? So there's Bard, Warlock, and Wizard for the Mage Lorehold. And it's split up into different ones, right? From what I could tell. Yeah, Druid, Sorcerer, or Wizard subclass for the Mage of Prismari. Hey, Kiro, thanks for being here. I thought I'd seen your name in chat before. Have you not been subscribed? The Mage of the Prismari is available to Druid, Sorcerer, and Wizard. The Mage of Quadric is available to Sorcerer and Wizard. The Mage of Silver Quill is available to Bard, Warlock, or Wizard. And the Mage of Witherbloom is available to Druid and Warlock. Warlock is the one I'm a little bit worried about getting this kind of a treatment. We'll talk about why whenever we get into the actual subclasses. Starting off, where was it? Mage of Lorehold. Mages of Lorehold are particularly concerned with the forces that underlie and drive history. Drawing inspiration from the scholars and adventurers of old, they manifest the arcane power of the past through ethereal dioramas and fantastical battle prowess. Lorehold mages are often found with a long-dead spirit summoned at their side, for who better to learn ancient history For who better to learn ancient history from than one who has experienced it firsthand? So, this is one that is available to Warlock, and I think we can get into that right now. So my concerns kind of with Warlock right here. You're going to get your Lorehold spells. You learn the Sacred Flame cantrip and the first level spell Comprehend Languages. You learn additional spells when you reach certain levels in this class, as shown in the Lorehold spells table. Each of these spells counts as a class spell for you, but doesn't count against the number of spells you know. If you're a wizard, you can add these spells to your spellbook upon learning them without expending any gold and prepare them as normal. Why am I concerned about this on Warlock? Can anybody in chat let me know? We've got a lot of designers in here. I know somebody spotted this. Because where they can either take a level in their class into specialization. That's kind of how they did prestige classes. And I don't mind the idea of prestige classes. Correct. So there we go. Spells known. So Warlock, whenever you take that at first level, it's the way that their spellcasting works, and I know so many of y'all are here know this. You don't get these spells innately through your subclass. You have to learn them. They are added to the Warlock spell list for you. So this means that this Warlock is getting a spell. They're getting a cantrip and a spell. Now, they're not really, I mean, Sacred Flame on Warlock, on the Eldritch Blast class, you're probably not going to be thinking about that too much, right? That's flavor as much as I'm concerned. Comprehend Languages. Like, kind of whatever. I mean, Warlock already gets, like, Eyes of the Runekeeper, and I just think that, like, okay, you having to choose between one or two spells that you know at first level compared to you getting a freebie that you know. I'm usually a lot of the first level spells that are added to Warlock packs aren't super incredible. In some cases, yes, they are. Like, you know, you being able to get shield on Hexblade, especially at the first tier of play, that's really nice. Sure, it doesn't really scale up with you, but like, there for those first 4 levels, you're definitely going to be using that spell. So the different thing here is that you're not getting freebie, like 2 freebie first level spells. You're only getting the 1 as far as like Bard and Wizard is concerned. This also means that this is a wizard that is getting freebie spells. So yeah, this is something that I think could help out like Necromancy Wizard, where you just get Animate Dead at 5th level. Like, that's one of the big changes that I always make to wizards at my table. Like, yeah. So, the Lorehold spells, you can get Knock, Locate Object. Both of these decent interaction kinds of exploration spells that you can do outside of combat. They're not going to make a ton of difference for you in combat, except for, like, maybe specific situations. Speak with Dead, I love this spell. This is a great divination. Is it divination or necromancy? But that tends to give players a lot of information in a way that feels really cool for the story and like really helps evoke the feel of like you are definitely in a fantasy world. There's something so grim but cool about Speak with Dead, and I find that it does give you a lot of information. Spirit Guardians, I do like this spell. I've seen it used to really great effect. This is flat damage that it can do, so here on Warlock, I don't know about Warlock. Wait a minute, let me pull this up real quick. Speak with Dead is Necromancy. Thank you. Let me check something out real quick, because I don't remember another Warlock patron giving you Spirit Guardians, especially just not known. Yeah, okay, it does. Oh, wait, what was I thinking of? What's someone that deals flat damage that I totally just... is it Spiritual Guardians? Spirit Guardians is a different spell. I was thinking of... What's like the big, like, 8-hour one? Spirit Guardians can kill through walls. It's awesome. Is it Spiritual Guardian? Really? No? Okay, someone in chat, let me know. What is that big Guardian of Faith? Okay. Okay, so it's not that spell. Right, okay, there we go. Okay, so Spirit Guardians, never mind. Completely dismissed my critique of that earlier. Here we go. So, on Warlock, this is going to be competing for your concentration. Okay. You call 4 spirits to protect you. They flit around to a distance of 15 feet for the duration. If you're good or neutral, their spectral form appears angelic or fey, your choice. If you're evil, they appear fiendish. When you cast a spell, you can designate any number of creatures you can see to be unaffected by it. An affected creature's speed is halved in the area, and when the creature enters the area for the first time on a turn or starts its turn there, it must make a wisdom saving throw. On a failed save, the creature takes 3d8 radiant damage if you're good or neutral, or 3d8 necrotic damage. On a successful save, the creature takes half as much damage, and it does scale up with you. So, I actually think that's going to be pretty fantastic on Warlock. The spell list seems pretty weak, you think? I think pretty much all, like, the third... Okay, these are 2 second level spells that you get at 3rd level. Mostly interaction, right? But they are going to come into play. I can see that happen, especially if you're just getting these spells and you don't have to take them. Yeah, that's real nice. Arcane Eye is pretty alright. That's good for getting some information, but it's going to be a pretty extensive resource. Usually I don't know that Arcane Eye is giving you way more information than just getting like Find Familiar is going to do. Stone Shape, again, situational kind of like out of combat stuff. You being able to like completely seal off a door. Cool for preventing chase scenarios, right? Getting through dungeons and kind of like exploration. Yeah. It is a really expensive resource to do basically we want to move through this wall kind of a thing. Destructive Wave, not bad. Legend Lore is pretty meh. The spell list here isn't super fantastic. It's more like, I think, in flavor for what this college is supposed to be. So, I do kind of worry, though, that, like, it's amazing for a wizard or warlock. I do kind of worry about these just being given freebie to the warlock, right? No other wizard subclass is going to get you all these freebie spells either. Bard, like... Sure, they're not really going to, but like, for Bard, the thing that I'm thinking of is like, are you really going to use your magical secrets to snag any of these spells? So it feels like it's just kind of like crossing off some spells. Like, yeah, they're situational utility spells, right? But they are more spells. That's the thing to be thinking about. They are definitely more spells. Even if we're only looking at them like taxing your power budget, like, maybe 1 or 2 points or something. They are more spells. It is more stuff you can do. I don't know. I don't super mind it. I still think that what they need to do is say, like, if you're a warlock, these are added to the warlock spell list for you. I like this idea. I just don't know that it's completely compatible with the 5e warlock. That's, like, yeah. Ancient Companion, level 1+ Mage of Lorehold feature. You learn to call on the spirits from an ancient dead and house them temporarily in the remnants of old statues, so they remain longer on this plane to bolster your studies and aid you in battle. Whenever you finish a short or long rest, you can call forth and bond with one such spirit who comes to inhabit a medium freestanding statue within 10 feet of you to serve as your ancient companion. Okay. See this creature's game statistics in the Ancient Companion stat block, which uses your proficiency bonus. Alright. When you bond, you choose a type of spirit, healer, sage, or warrior. Let's highlight all that. Your choice of spirit determines certain traits in its stat block. The statue determines the spirit's appearance. The Ancient Companion is friendly to you and your companions and obeys your commands. In combat, your companion shows your initiative count, so we've got like Beastmaster kind of wording there. As an action, you can touch the Ancient Companion and expend a spell slot at 1st level or higher. The Ancient Companion regains a number of hit points equal to 10 times the level of spell slot expended. The companion perishes when it drops to 0 hit points, when you bond with a new ancient companion at the end of its short or long rest, or when you die. When the companion perishes, the spirit returns to its plane of origin, and the statue becomes an inert object. So, give any arcane caster spiritual weapon an instant... Oh, yeah, no, absolutely. Okay, so, this ancient companion, what are the really interesting things it can do? Because this all looks pretty standard as far as like the Battlesmith companion stat block, the Steel Defender. It's immune to being charmed or exhausted, immune to poison damage. It's a construct that's not immune to psychic damage. Huh. Ancient Fortitude. If damage reduces the companion to 0 hit points, it can make a Constitution saving throw with a DC equal to 5 plus the damage taken, unless the damage is from a critical hit. On a success, the... Oh, wow, hey, thank you so much for the... What is that fancy fantasy currency? DKK? 25... Thank you for 25 or whatever that was, Christian Wyndham. Appreciate your channel very much. Hey, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate that. So, they get some form of... It's not like undead fortitude, but kind of, right? Like, kind of? Companion drops to 1 hit point instead. So that's on all of them. Okay, and I'm going to value that about the same way that we value Undead Fortitude, which is pretty freaking nice. Yeah, that's going to hold up for multi-attack. So, yeah, Undead Fortitude with Ancient Fortitude just basically being an Undead Fortitude reskin. That's going to be a nice feature. I mean, you're not going to feel bad about just sending this thing into the front line to, like, tank the damage for you. Let me zoom in on that a little bit. Hey, Eric, what's going on, man? Lots of uses equal to proficiency bonus in this PDF, so I already know you'll love it. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Oh, man. Yeah, go see my proficiency bonus rant on that. The fact that this is a Warlock and healing 50 hit points instantly to the potential tank sounds rather strong at 9th level to about late 3rd tier play. I think it's different if it's a companion versus one of your, like, party members, right? That is very specific in which it can do that, and the Warlock spell slots are going to be really precious. So I don't super mind that, actually. Minus Radiant Vulnerability. Oh, so it's... You're right! Good catch! Oh, God. Okay, so it's better than Undead Fortitude. You can make Terran say... you can make Terran sad proficiency bonus times per day. Alright. So, Sage's Counsel. This is for the Sage only. While within 15 feet of the companion, you and your allies gain a +2 bonus to intelligence and wisdom checks. Oh, cool. Nice. It's a flat +2. I actually prefer that rather than, like, scaling from proficiency bonus. So, that's 15 feet. Okay, I like the restraint there. That's going to be decent out of combat. Like, right? This is going to apply to perception checks, investigation checks, history checks. Sure. Like, I don't super mind this. Insight. This applies to insight checks, right? Here we go. Ted from Nerd Immersion said that the subclass is the best of all of them. Okay. The first one we're really chewing on here. Spirit Strike. So, melee weapon attack. Your spell attack modifier to hit. Okay, reach of 5 feet. One target you can see. 1d8 +2 plus proficiency bonus force damage. I don't mind proficiency bonus added into companion stat blocks. If you take this companion, it's supposed to kind of like stay relevant with you. And it's odd to see a companion say like so weak whenever like, you know, you keep leveling up but the companion is pretty meh. So I don't super mind that. Healer's Light, healer only. The companion chooses a creature it can see within 15 feet of itself and flares with invigorating light. The creature regains 1d8 plus proficiency bonus. Oh, the creature gains 1d8 plus proficiency bonus temporary hit points. That's as a freebie action. Then it can do... Hang on. Oh, I hate it whenever Reader does this. Okay. You have to use your... You use a bonus action to command it to take another action. In which case, it's doing the 1d8 plus proficiency bonus temporary hit points. That is weaker than the Protector Eldritch Cannon for Artificer. So I don't... I think that this is going to be okay. It's not as bad as... It's nowhere nearly as bad as Twilight Domain. So I don't really mind that. It is only... Creature can see within 15 feet of itself. Yeah, this is going to be fine. That's actually... I like the constraint that they put on that. Let's just highlight that. I kind of wonder... What's it going to be more worth it to do with its action? I mean, the Spirit Strike is nice, right? It's always going to be force damage. They are just kind of throwing force damage on a lot of stuff, though. Warrior's Protection, Warrior only. When a creature within 5 feet of the companion makes a Strength or Dexterity saving throw, the companion imposes itself between the creature and the danger. The creature can roll a d4 and add the number rolled to the saving throw. So... Okay. Strength or Dexterity saving throw. Now sure, this is just kind of always on, right? But it's a reaction. And the warrior is the only one to get a special reaction here. But the healer is the only one that can do the temporary hit points. And then the sage does the passive, yeah. Very combat heavy. I mean, the warrior's coming out with 16 armor class. I think... okay. I think out of the three of these... Now, my personal bias is always going to be for support options, right? Like, I'm just that kind of guy. I love support characters. So I'm going to be biased towards the healer. I do like the idea of the temporary hit points, all that stuff, right? The warrior is getting a little tiny bit more. But at least it feels like your choice is kind of significant here. I think the sage is like, I mean, you're just being able to do this. I guess if you're changing it once for short rest, was it short rest or long rest? Okay, so you can choose, so it's flexible. So outside of combat, while you're doing your warlock, like, all right, I need to, get my spell slots back, you can swap it over to whatever you feel like you're probably going to be dealing with more. So it is flexibility here. I like the companion overall. Overall, I think that this is okay. I think this is all right. It is straight up better than Beastmaster. So I'm going to leave it at that. I'm going to think that, you know what, like, this is probably a little bit better than Beastmaster, especially on classes like Warlock and... Wizard and Bard. I worry that this might be stepping on, like, Creation Bard's toes a little bit, but this is also kind of designed for a specific campaign setting. And that applies to passive... Well, I don't know that it technically applies to passive perception. I guess it's not changing your perception modifier. I would, just to not have to deal with the rulings, right? Not have to mess with that. I would just be like, bam. Passive perception is not an ability. Yeah. Okay, Eric got it right there. If you always play what is best, everyone at the table is always going to predict what you're going to do, and they're going to get bored. Yeah. Lessons of the past. So, level 6+ Mage of Lorehold feature. Oh, I should probably go up and highlight this. This is going to be strong, impactful for so many different scenarios. You're adding another body out there in combat, so you're basically doubling your effective area of effect, I guess you could say, in combat. So this thing it doesn't say it can't make opportunity attacks, right? Take its reaction on its own. Yeah, so it can make attacks of opportunity. All right, yeah. I mean, you're already going to be a pretty nice stat block with, like, if you don't have a great frontliner, this is going to be your frontliner. Like, a 16 armor class is a little meh. You really want for a frontliner to have like 18, right? But I mean, you're not worried about this thing dying so much. So, especially with that Ancient Fortitude, if you don't have anybody in your party that really wants to get up there in the front line, you know what this is cool for? You know what this is actually kind of cool for? You can build a completely workable party of nothing but backliners because you're not worried about this thing dying in combat. How many hit points does it have? 5 plus 5 times your level in this class. Okay, yeah. It's not a ton of hit points, but it's immune to poison damage. It can't be charmed. Can't be exhausted. Okay, so let me tell you what I'm excited for, like theory crafting wise, right? Is the idea that what this means is that you could roll up a whole party of nothing but wizards or whatever, a bunch of squishies, and this thing can be your frontliner. It only has a move speed while animated. It's a medium-sized statue? Wait, what? Yeah, but like if you animate it, then like it's gonna be moving with you, right? Or, unless I misunderstood something there. How would you compare this to Battlesmith Steel Defender? Battlesmith probably got the best companion. Like, after Battlesmith came out, that was how we saw companion classes getting handled, right? It kind of defined what it meant to be a companion class in D&D because, like, I mean, Beastmaster just wasn't really doing it, you know? So I think that's why we didn't see a lot of companion classes until we saw the success of Battlesmith. So, like, I think that this is going to be actually a little bit, I don't want to say stronger, but like, yeah, you shouldn't play marshals in this. That's what I'm thinking. I think that this is going to be a little bit stronger for a specific reason, and that is that if you're playing, you know, the Wizard College kind of a campaign, you need this to substitute for one of your frontliners. Like, this is actually pretty cool. I think that if you're going to do, like, all in, like, completely all in, nothing but, like, backline casters, this is going to be kind of a must to pick up because you're going to need a frontliner. Lessons of the Past. Level 6 plus Mage and Lorehold feature. Through your studies, you learn to better listen and take the heart of teachings of history. When you bond with your ancient companion, you gain one of the following additional benefits depending on the type of spirit you choose. Healer, your hit point maximum increases by an amount equal to your level in this class, and you gain the same number of hit points. When you regain hit points from a spell, you regain an additional 1d8 hit points. So every spell that's cast on you to heal hit points is basically 1d8 better. So it's like anytime someone casts Cure Wounds on you, it's cast as if it's a spell level higher. Like, ooh. Whoa, okay. That is, when you bond with your ancient companion, you also, so once per short rest, you can increase this. And then I'm guessing you immediately lose the benefits. Okay, I was like, whoa, don't tell me that stacks. Okay. I was like, I gotta make sure that they at least put in the closing statement there, right? Goodberry. Yep, Goodberry. I mean, I think that Goodberry is gonna get a nerf. I do. If you do Goodberry, where like, yes, this makes Goodberry really, really good, right? This makes Goodberry really, really good. What I'm going to suggest is that Wizards of the Coast at least does Goodberry to where it's like, it has to consume that mistletoe. It has to consume the mistletoe. It helps to reel it in for survival campaigns, but I think that we're going to see Goodberry get some kind of a nerf. Just saying, because this has been like the big talking point of like what happens with enhancing healing in D&D is always how does that affect Goodberry, right? I think what we're going to see in some kind of an errata, if not in 5th edition, in a future edition, or Goodberry just doesn't exist in your campaign. I think what we'll see in a future errata is that Goodberry may possibly get a nerf because it just works out too well with Life Domain Cleric and like effects like this right here. It might say that it can't benefit from XYZ thing. I don't know. But I'm just saying, just as a designer, that's something that I see Wizards of the Coast may be taking a look at. Sage. You have advantage on ability checks using the Arcana, Nature, and, okay, Religion skills. Additionally, once per turn, when you deal damage to a creature with a spell of first level or higher, you can deal an additional 1d8 force damage to that creature. So it doesn't affect your cantrips. Let me tell you why I like this right here. These are all pretty situational checks. These are not super common. They're not always coming up, right? I do like this right here because it's bolstering up these kinds of situational effects, or situational checks. Additionally, once per turn, when you deal damage to a creature with a spell of first level or higher, to that creature. Okay, so it can only be one creature. To a creature once per turn. The way that this has to work, or else this is too good. The way that this has to work is that it can only be one creature. Because it has to be, I'm saying this once per turn needs to be that you can only do that to one creature during that spell. Otherwise, this is going to be gray. But in the meantime, like, yeah, this is making you a better blaster. And it's actually an incentive for you to look at taking Sage. It's great for those single target fights. In mobs, this is probably kind of meh. Like, yeah, sure, it is additional damage that you're doing with your spells. It's making you a better blaster, giving you probably the best damage type that you can be dealing with those spells. So this wouldn't work with Magic Missile if you target multiple enemies. It can't. It absolutely can't. It has to be only once per turn. Absolutely can't work with Magic Missile, or else this cannot be printed in a book. You don't consider the berry spells? Yeah, Goodberry is like... Goodberry is the kind of spell that is... At first glance, you're looking at it and you're thinking like, man, it's not... okay, whatever, cool, it's there. And then you see how subclasses can enhance that spell, and then it just instantly becomes like, oh, that's doing a lot more than I think this spell should do. I really like to use passive history for characters' general understanding of their community and cultural lore for basic info. I think that that's actually not a bad idea. I do and I don't like passive checks. I'll probably do that in a video in the future. Because I see so many people running passive perception wrong. Absolutely wrong. Everybody makes passive perception way too strong in D&D 5e, and it is just not meant for everything that they're giving it. Oh man, I will talk about that in a future video, I'm sure. Warrior. If you use your action to cast a cantrip, you can make one weapon attack as a part of that action. If that weapon attack hits, the target takes an additional 1d8 radiant damage. Not bad. This is a kind of interesting incentive to go Blade Lock with this. Really, use your action to cast a cantrip. So, yeah, this is a must-take on Eldritch Blast Blade Warlock, right? Because, like, you do the damage of Eldritch Blast. Let's say you're keeping your Hex, right? Blade Pact, right? Everyone's saying Blade Pact. You do your Eldritch Blast. So you're already... Okay, here you're doing 2 blasts with that. Of course, you're going to take Agonizing Blast. But... Oh, wait, Pact of the Blade. Pact of the Blade's going to come out. Do this. Well, Shocking Grasp. I love Shocking Grasp. I absolutely love Shocking Grasp. But, like... if I'm looking at this for, like, you know, Wizard, I just think that you're gonna way prefer to go Sage with Wizard, right? Warrior seems pretty strictly only Bard and Warlock. Like, this looks really good for Bard, too, but, like, man, every time that they include this wording right here, I'm immediately thinking Eldritch Blast, Eldritch Blast, Eldritch Blast. Tome Pact with Shillelagh. Well, yeah, but it can do the same Wait. No, you're right. You're right. Okay, hang on. Blade lock. Okay. Because I keep thinking about it like this. The charisma being used for your attack rolls is like, yeah, it's tied to Hexblade. I don't think it should be. I think it should just be an Eldritch Invocation. That, like, you can use charisma for the attack and damage rolls that you make with melee weapons. Tie it behind Pact of the Blade. Like, open up some build diversity, right? Like, yeah. But, like, I think on everyone else, this is alright. You can make one weapon attack as a part of that action is really nice. Because you're already getting so much damage out of your cantrip. Which, you know, cantrips are meant to scale up to compensate for the fact that these classes aren't getting extra attack. So you being able to make a melee attack on top of that, that's a real nice boost. Like, this is a seriously nice boost. This multi with Eldritch Knight, action, cantrip plus warrior attack plus bonus action attack. Oh my god. Yeah, but that's going to take a lot of level investment to do that. And by that time, I'm not super worried about that because, like, I think with Eldritch Knight, you're going to get more out of just keeping with your extra attack. But, you know, okay, so know that that's the kind of build synergy I'm a little worried about. But I do think that, like, I just think that, like, we missed an opportunity with an Eldritch Invocation that let you use charisma instead of strength for the damage rolls you make with your packed weapon. Yeah. So with these builds, let me take a look. When you gain hit points from a spell, if that's going to work with Goodberry, that makes Goodberry an absolute must pick up on the Bard. Absolutely must pick up on the Bard. Like, for real, your hit point maximum increases by a number equal to your level in this class. So what this does is for Bard and Warlock, that's effectively making your hit die a D10. For Wizard, it's basically making your hit die a D8. So that's a huge boost. That's a very nice boost right there. Sage, if you want to go full blaster, this is here. I like this a whole lot. I really like this a whole lot. But I'm very hesitant with how much they just throw force damage out there. Yeah. I don't mind Sage super much. Warrior looks nice. Yeah. Okay. So, lessons in the past, I think all of these options are going to be strong. They all evoke a different build. It's interesting to see that... Well, okay, if you're a... Hang on, let me think about this. If you're a wizard or a warlock, I don't know that this does anything for you. Well, I guess it's from any spell. But that's less out of... It's a little bit less out of your control, right? Or it's a little more out of your control. Because you're going to have to pick up, like, Cure Wounds or something else in order to make this work out for you, which you can do without multiclassing, right? You go a feat investment, you can get that. But it's a little bit... I'm just going to say this. On Wizard and Warlock, I think that this is a little bit less reliable. But on Bard, it's absolutely a purple. Warrior looks sick nasty on Warlock, pretty cool on Bard, and pretty missable on Wizard. Sage feels like the real pickup for Wizard. How often does the statue heal? It can heal as an action during its turn, which requires you to use your bonus action to make it do. But it's not a heal, it's temporary hit points. Healer's really good if you're tanking. Yeah, but, like, really, why would you be tanking with any of these classes? Like, you want to roll up Tank Wizard? That, like... good luck, man! Like... you're really meant to be sending this thing in the tank for you, is what you should be doing. This needs to be your frontliner right here. Okay. War Echoes. Level 10 plus Mage and Lorehold feature. By pulling from the magic from the past, you can use your opponent's old wounds to resonate anew. Cause your opponent's old wounds. Okay, once per turn, when a creature you can see hits a target with an attack roll, you can use your reaction to force the target to make a wisdom saving throw against your spell save DC. On a failure, the target becomes vulnerable. What? Vulnerable to what? Vulnerable to one of the damage types dealt by the attack? This vulnerability lasts until the end of the target's next turn and affects the damage dealt by the triggering attack. You can use your reaction this way a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus, and you regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. Okay. Okay, so we're looking at something that is scary good. This is way scary. And it's funny because I just talked about vulnerability the other day. Okay. There is way too much potential for this to go absolutely off the rails. Absolutely off the rails. This being vulnerability. Woo! Yeah, Paladin Smite go, right? Yeah, this is the biggest shock in this entire thing, seeing vulnerability printed in 2021. All right, I talked about this. I made a clip from it. It's wound up turning into a pretty quickly viewed video. Yes, vulnerability is way too strong in D&D 5e. Wizards is very, very hesitant. If you're a DM out there, you've noticed that not many monsters have vulnerability to a damage type. If you can do this, this is an absolutely melt a creature in one turn kind of a thing. It depends on your enemy's damage type though, right? Not as flexible as you'd think. Once per turn, when a creature you can see hits a target with an attack roll, this means that it can affect your allies. You can use a reaction to force the target of the attack to make a wisdom saving throw against your spell save DC. Now, a few things here. You better burn legendary DMs out there. If this happens, you better burn legendary reactions because this is sick, absolutely sick. I wonder if that vulnerability overrides immunity and resistance. That needs to be worded in here. I don't think that vulnerability needs to be thrown on this. Now Paladin is their best friend, right? This can be used. People, right? A lot of people are saying smite. A lot of people are saying smite in here. This can be used on force damage. This cannot be printed in here with force damage, especially on a class that gives you Eldritch Blast. This cannot be put on a class that allows you to get Eldritch Blast. Eldritch Blast, Agonizing Blast? No, man. That needs to be toned down. It cannot be a vulnerability to force damage because there is one creature in all of D&D that is immune or resistant to force damage. You can just chuck Fireball, sure, but like, okay, think about it like this. Warlock being able to roll out at this point, I think next level, 3 bolts that deal force damage. Now, sure, they made the 1d8 radiant damage right here, right? I guess it's not going to affect that. Deal damage to a creature with a spell of first level or higher. Hey, Hexlock. I mean, you cast Hex. You do your Eldritch Blast. It does the force damage right here on top of the Hex. The vulnerability to the damage, like, here's what I'm saying. Like, this, just use slashing and let the rest of the party hack away. Sure, that's very possible. But they are throwing out force damage on everything. Everything these days. If the target becomes vulnerable, remember I was talking about, was it Amethyst Dragon and that Dragonborn Unearthed Arcana, right? Amethyst Dragon being able to deal force damage with its breath attack, and then bam, you throw this out there? There are builds, okay, let me tell you guys this. There are certain party compositions that will destroy games with this. This will absolutely destroy games. I don't think War Echo should be here. I like the idea. Okay. But my big problem is that vulnerability is just way too strong. Way too strong. So if vulnerability got possibly reeled in, or this mechanic was just, the attack deals additional damage, That feels kind of boring though, right? Because we've already got so many effects that are just additional damage, whatever. This can mechanically be crunched in a way to where like fights just do not really challenge the players. You can use this reaction a number of times, including a proficiency bonus. Hey, Chris Edward, thanks for being here. Glad to have you. You can use this reaction in a way a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus, and regain all expended uses per long rest. So, yeah. Every time it says proficiency mod, take a shot. I'm drinking coffee, but I'll join you. Okay. Vulnerability is too good. Vulnerability is way, way, way too good. Maybe just for the triggering attack, possibly, but still, I'm worried about what Paladin's going to do with that. Real worried about what Paladin Smite's going to be able to do with that. You're going to melt faces with that. And you get this multiple times. Multiple times. So, yes, while it uses your reaction, you can only do this once per combat round, right? This is still a seriously good reaction. A sick, nasty reaction that you can get here. I would say that this is probably on par with Shield and possibly even Counterspell for how strong of a reaction this is. Like, seriously, you cannot sleep on what War Echoes is doing. Yeah, I think that needs to get reeled back. Honestly, what they need to do, 5.5e, just, like, if it's going to be a 5.5e or a 6th edition, swap the crit and vulnerability mechanics, and then this is going to look really okay, right? You see what I meant about, like, it's going to make your games feel better? Then this would just be a purple. That seems pretty sick. Otherwise, of course this is a gray, because vulnerability is just that awesome. Paladin is so much less scary to me than just straight slashing or piercing damage with multiple allies. Sure, there's other ways that you can do that, like, you want to make it slashing damage? Sure. But it doesn't describe what interaction this has with resistance or immunity. So, like, it really needs to say that. Okay. History's Whims. Level 14 plus Mage of Lorehold feature. Through steeping yourself in the chaotic whims of history, you learn how to briefly channel the wild nature of time itself. As a bonus action, you can enter a state of chronal chaos. When you enter this state, and at the start of each of your subsequent turns while in this state, you gain one of the following benefits of your choice. Okay, so it's a bonus action to enter this state. And then, so is it, okay, it happens that turn, and then at the start of each of your turns, you gain one of the following benefits, which you just choose. Luck, you receive brief flashes of the future, steeling yourself against oncoming assaults. Whenever you make a saving throw against an effect that deals damage, you can roll a d6 and add the number rolled to the total. Okay, so of course this is going to be good. But like, effects that deal damage, if you succeed on the save and it still does half damage on a successful save, or on a, success, then like, okay, at least it's helping you to prevent some damage, right? But also notice that it's only, hang on, let me highlight this. An effect that deals damage, not like things that might charm you, things that might whatever. So I don't mind this super much. Bam. I actually think that might be a way to reel in the power of magic resistance. Just say it doesn't work if the creature has immunity or resistance. Immunity or resistance to that damage type, I would think that that's actually kind of fair. I would say that that's actually pretty not bad. Resistance. You rewind time, knitting together injuries as they occur. You have resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage. Okay. Like, okay. It's here. Of course it's good. That on top of everything else is a lot. It's a lot. Luck, I'm just going to call a blue for right now. This is a good effect, but it's only affecting damaging spells, which there's a lot of. You know what? I'm going to leave it. I'll leave it there as purple. Swiftness. Time stutters, slowing others, but hurling you forward. Is it hurtling? Is it hurling or hurtling? Your movement speed increases by 15 feet, and you do not provoke opportunity attacks. Alright. I like this one a lot. The benefit lasts until the start of your next turn. You cannot choose the same benefit 2 rounds in a row. That's cool. Okay, I like that. I like this, even though this is something that's trying to reel in the power of it, right? So that you don't just auto-pick resistance. These are all really cool effects. Like, they're all really good, but I like this idea here of you can't choose the same benefit 2 rounds in a row. Hey, I think this is the most viewed live stream. There's 51 people now. So, hey, everybody. Cool record. So the benefit lasts until the start of your next turn. Okay. Let's just highlight that. State lasts for 1 minute. It ends early if you're incapacitated. Once you use this feature, you can't use it again until you finish a long rest unless you expend a spell slot of 4th level or higher to do it again. Alright, so at my first read, I don't mind History's Whims. I don't mind History's Whims all that much. I like this effect right here where you can't choose the same benefit 2 rounds in a row. It is causing some tracking, right? Some bookkeeping. Hey, it's Varen. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for being here. This is, how do I put it? You have to swap between them. Bonus action on your turn, and then just at the start of your next turn, you cause this to happen. The, like, knitting together injuries as they occur is a narrative that sounds like it should heal any damage that you, or maybe it should heal half the damage that you took since your last turn. The, like, you getting resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage feels like, meh. I think that this should do something like, you regain hit points equal to half the damage that you took since the end of your last turn. That sounds a little bit more interesting, right? Like, there's more interplay with that. Just granting you resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage, it's like, of course that's good, but it feels really bland for that narrative. Time stutters, slowing others but moving you forward. Like, this is cool. Your movement speed increases by 15 feet and you do not provoke opportunity attacks. I wonder if, like, you don't provoke opportunity attacks. I get that. That's kind of cool, right? I wonder narratively if they could have done anything else with that, because at 14th level that feels alright. I like luck overall. I like the counterbalance of that only applying to effects that deal damage. Resistance is universally going to be pretty great. I'm going to give this whole thing a purple, but I do think that there were ways that they could have evoked some of the narrative here a little bit better. Like, if we're talking about, you know, you're able to quasi-travel through time in a way, you rewinding time sounds like a narrative that should have been that, like, you regain hit points, right? Instead of just, you have resistance for right now until moving forward. You see what I mean? Is it, like, does anybody get how, like, the timeline of events of that feature don't make a ton of sense? But everything that's here, like War Echoes, this cannot make it into a book as it's currently printed, but there are ways that you can reel this in and make it pretty interesting, right? We're gonna see this one toned down. If this is printed in this way, I'm very, very worried about what that does to Warlock. That looks terrifying. Really love catching your lives. Thanks. I've only been following for a few weeks, but you have opinions and concepts that have helped me structure and balance my homebrew items and class. Hey, thank you. I'm glad I can be of service here. Hey, Fry Benny's with $4.99. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate it. Everyone smash that like button and toss your boy. Hey, thank you. So, Major Lorehold. Right now, if you were to ask me right now, would I allow this on my table? I'd say it needs some changes to keep it more in line with what the other, not just the Warlocks in the player's handbook, like they're saying, but even the Warlocks that are in Tasha's. I like the idea. right, of this class that can be, this subclass that can be put into multiple different classes. But, woo, I am very worried about you being able to make creatures vulnerable to force damage. That is scary, scary. It definitely feels loosely connected to the flavor of resistance. Yeah, I agree. It would be a lot, it would be some bookkeeping, but you're gonna remember that, right? Like, you're definitely gonna remember how much damage you took if you have a feature that says you can negate that damage, right? Or even just say, like, you can knit together injuries as they occur. Whenever you take damage, you can roll a d6 and subtract the number rolled from the damage. That's pretty weak, but, like, it's something. I would personally do that bookkeeping if I was a player. Yeah, I don't... Okay. If you make a feature that is so good that players don't mind doing the bookkeeping, then, like, you know, if it's that interesting, I don't think that they super mind it. But yes, it is a layer of having to actually track that a little bit more. So it's a thing, but, like, we're already tracking a lot here in D&D. Yeah. Plus, knowing that, like, okay, you rewind time, knitting together injuries as they occur. Yeah, I just don't know that that's getting that narrative across. Yeah, we're looking at the Mages of Strixhaven Unearthed Arcana. The Mage of the Prismari. So this is for Druid, Sorcerer, and Wizard. Oh, wait, but I was talking about whether or not I would allow this on my table right now. Not with this. I wouldn't allow it with War Echoes. I'm worried about Warrior. Sage is, like, not bad. This looks scary, especially in combo with War Echoes. But the Lorehold spells. None of the subclasses that get this are subclasses that innately get spells known in their subclasses. Okay, so think about that. This is definitely a different power budget that we're working with for a Bard, Wizard, or Warlock subclass. Especially because you're getting these spells and they're just known, right? On top of you already getting another companion. So this is a Bard that doesn't get especially used for Bardic Inspiration through their subclass. Let's think about the Scaffolding. But they're getting an entire expanded spell list. A companion, which is, as I'm looking at this, functioning as a frontline character for you. And then it has all these other effects that you can tie into it. This on Bard looks super nice. I don't know about Wizard. I don't know about Warlock, because you're going to have to invest a feat to make that pay off reliably for you. This right here, I hope you've got a Cleric or a Cleric, Bard, or Paladin or Druid in the party. But yeah, War Echoes, if you tone that down, I think that this might be okay. I think my only hiccup with Resistance is just thinking, like, this just feels kind of boring. The Mage of the Prismari. So this is for Druid, Sorcerer, and Wizard. Mages of the Prismari use surges of elemental energy to express who they are and how they see the world. To them, magic and motion are one and the same. Both are exhibitions of raw creativity through which masterpieces are made. In their pursuit of the arts, some Prismari mages focus on perfecting the fine details of their technique, while others prefer to unleash their wild creative visions and dazzling spectacles of elemental power. Okay. Oh, you make War Echoes be able to give a mistack another chance to attack? Possible. You get that it's UA, but what is it? These are going to be subclasses. Well, okay. So, just as a reminder, these are subclasses. These are all basically colleges that you can take that replace you taking a subclass. This is a very experimental thing, and I like that they're stepping out here, okay? I really like that they're stepping out here. And I think that there's some very interesting ideas here. We're just kind of looking at it as if we're giving it like a consultation pass. So, if you have a class of the required ones, you can grab it. Yeah, there you go. Using this subclass, upon selecting the Mage of the Prismari subclass, you gain 2 features, Creative Skills and Kinetic Artistry. In the subclass's features, any reference to your subclass or to your class refers to the class from which you gain this subclass. Okay. Counts as your college. So this is... Wait. Prismari counts as your... I read that right? Circle if you're a sorcerer. Oh, okay. I thought it said college for Bard. I was like, wait, what? Did I misread something? Okay, so what we're thinking about now with Druid, Sorcerer, and Wizard. Druid, are there interesting uses for Wild Shape? Usually at 2nd level, they get some kind of an interesting use in there for Wild Shape. Sometimes it's just an expanded spell list. For Sorcerer, your Sorcerer's Origin is like usually giving you some kind of an interesting action to use in place of certain things. We're definitely seeing expanded spell lists being tacked on to Sorcerer in Tasha's moving forward, which I actually really like, and I think that they need to boost up a lot of the old Sorcerers to that level of power. People complain all the time about Sorcerer not being a fantastic arcane character, and I think that what they did in Tasha's really served Sorcerer very, very well. And then for Wizard, you get it at 2nd level. Cool. Usually they're getting a sub-font, which is, we kind of value that about the same as like maybe 1 or 2 skill proficiencies. And then they're getting a kind of signature like feature that embodies their school of magic. So right here, first level, level 1 plus College of Prismari feature, you gain proficiency with 2 of the following skills of your choice. Acrobatics, Athletics, Nature, or Performance. That's wild. Okay. So, Acrobatics, Athletics, Nature, or Performance? On none of the only one of these subclass, or the only one of these classes I can see even kind of looking at acrobatics and athletics is maybe Druid. Like Nature or Performance, yeah, sure, looks great, but like acrobatics and athletics, those are flavor picks. That's how I'm looking at that. Again, hey, they're playing conservatively here, right? 2 of the following skills of your choice, not bad. It's just that acrobatics and athletics, maybe they'll give you a way to bolster this up later on. Because I'm not wrong, right? Like, it feels kind of odd to be giving, not that I just don't know how much that's going to help you out, right? Yeah, acrobatics is grapple defense at least. Like, sure, that is a mechanical benefit, but like, that feels real odd. Okay, you know what? I'll say this. I'm going to say acrobatics at most. Maybe I'll give it a blue because like you can defend against grapples. Sure. People are not noticing you only get 1 feature each time your class says you gain a subclass feature? Huh? What? Wait, what? When you reach a level in this class that gives you a subclass feature, you gain 1 feature of your choice from the options presented here. Wait. 1 feature of your choice. You're right, I didn't notice that. Hang on, who called that out? Squirrel Squad? Alright. Squirrel Squad MVP on that one. Hang on. That changes things. How far back can we look at that? Because that's a big misunderstanding on my part. Oh. What? No, it can't work that way. It can't work that way. Because they didn't write features later on. Like, this is dependent on you having had to take the Ancient Companion. So, What? That concerns the fact that some classes usually get subclass options at different levels. Well, Bard, we're looking at 3rd, 6th, and 3rd, 6th, and 14th. So if you go Bard, you only get 3 of these features. Okay, I'll say this much. Hey, 60 viewers. Jeez, like, hey guys, hey, welcome. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. The Patreon, all that other good stuff. Right, okay, cool. We'll move on to that. This seems like a hiccup. This seems like a hiccup because they're writing features later on that rely on you having taken the construct. It can't, this has to be some sort of a typo. Like, what? Unless you take this at first, or first, second, or third. They specifically pointed out the Bard thing at the top of page 2. Alright. Like regular subclasses, the subclasses you choose here grant your characters new abilities at higher levels. When your character would normally gain a new subclass feature, you gain a feature from this subclass instead. All the subclass features detailed here have a level prerequisite, as noted in their name, and you must meet the prerequisite to gain the feature. For example, to gain a feature noted as level 6+, your character must be 6th level or higher in that class for which the subclass was chosen. So if you're a wizard with a Mage or Prismari subclass, you must be 6th level to gain the favored medium feature. When you reach certain levels, you might be able to choose from among multiple features in the subclass. When you reach such a point, you select one of the features for your character to gain, unless otherwise specified, and you gain no more than one subclass feature at a time? Wait. Okay, so you're trading off either you get War Echoes or History's Winds. You can't get both. Keep reading? Okay. Wait, where was I? Okay. Unless otherwise specified, you can gain no more than one subclass feature at a time. Okay. So, alright. Then, this is not as graceful as what I was thinking. Any reference to your class refers to your... Hey, bud. Hey, we got special guest star. Hey, Paulo. What you doing? You must meet that. Okay, so what am I missing? Because... But of course, Wizard gets all 4. The highlighted portion under... Wait. What? You immediately gain 2 features, Lorehold Spells and Ancient Companion. What's up? Oh, you got... Oh, thank you.
Sorry, I look like a hot mess.
No, you're good.
Okay.
Okay. Ooh, I got a hamburger.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. This is confusing because they included text in here earlier that said you only get one of the features, and yet they're now including text that says you get both. So, Watsy. Hey. This needed to be proofread. Unless specific otherwise. Okay, so that's saying at higher levels. This is, okay. You know what? Chat? That's weird. I'm just gonna say this. Okay. This is causing confusion already because see, we've got like 57 people in here, and like, I've been writing for this game for a while. I'm confused by what's going on here. It's saying earlier that you only gain one of the features listed, and yet here it's saying you gain both of these. So we're going to say that this is an arbitration, okay, but it's an odd arbitration. Yeah, so the review for the lore hold is fine, because I had the correct interpretation of that, but now we've got a different thing, right? No, you gain 2 features. Why did they do that? Why did they say that you only gain one of the features? Okay, what? What is happening here? What? Why is that text necessary? Why is that text necessary? I don't know why that text is there, but it causes confusion. You gain 1 pick between subclasses? Sorry. I was like, sorry, Phil, I don't know what I said. Shouting at someone else. Okay. That previous text that was there causes some confusion, right? Gave me one a burger, send me a referral code for McDonald's. Man, the ones here in Tulsa actually have some pretty decent quarter pounders. Okay, so we've seen in the past. Okay, there's been some Unearthed Arcana. I think it was for the variant class features, where we did see them updated literally that same day, because people were voicing complaints about how there were some errors, right? So we might see a change there, because that is a cluttered. It's causing confusion, right? And I don't know that the wording is there. Actually, I don't know that it's necessary, right? Oh, let me do this over here so it doesn't. Ah. What the heck? Oh my god. Okay, I'm gonna deal with that sprite later. I don't know what the deal is with it. Yeah, this is wording that's causing some confusion, and it needs to read as clean as possible. And I think the original interpretation we had of it made sense, right? You get 2 features. Hang on. You get 2 features. Guess what? You get 2 features. So weird. Yeah, I don't know why that text is there. It's causing more confusion, I think, than anything else. I'm gonna chalk that up to that not being edited / proofread. I don't know. Anyways, so I like the idea of this. I'm gonna read this as if it is you're getting subclass features where they're saying you're getting them, right? Is there any fringe cases that we can think of that, like, roughly 70 people in chat have explained this? Yeah, but I'm getting, like, so many different explanations of it. Like, I'm getting, you see what I mean? So, yeah. People may have been explaining it, but, like, I'm seeing a bunch of different interpretations. I'm just gonna read it like, hey, these are replacing your subclass features. Cool. So, Kinetic Artistry. You can dash as a bonus action. Fantastic. Awesome. That is such a good bonus action. When you take this bonus action, so you can dash and do some other stuff. Choose one of the following additional effects. So we're not just getting dash as a bonus action, we're getting dash with other stuff on top of it. Boreal Sweep, icy water swirls around you. Until the end of your turn, you can move across the surface of water as if it were harmless solid ground. All pretty conditional, but it does come up in play. Additionally, when you leave a space within 5 feet of a creature, you can force a creature to make a strength saving throw against your... Wait. Okay. The creature is not prone. A creature can only be affected by the water only once per turn. Okay. So, when you leave a space within 5 feet of a creature, you can force it to make a strength saving throw against your save DC. Hang on a sec. My allergies right now. Okay. So, you can do this to multiple creatures on your turn by taking the dash action. However, what you're doing is provoking an opportunity attack from each of those creatures because you're taking the dash action. However, this is worth it enough. This is worth it enough, I'll say, in like mob situations to actually also take the disengage action. Cause yeah, the creature's not prone. It's fun. It's not a remarkably detrimental condition, but its movement speed is effectively going to be halved in order for it to stand up during its next turn. So, good control. A creature can be affected by the water only once each turn. What that's telling me is that there may be something later on that allows you to move maybe as a reaction. I don't know. I like this idea. It's not super major. It's cool. But the situation that like it has to be on the surface of water, right? This has to be tied into like the surface of water, or else this just feels kind of odd for narrative. Is the creature knocked over before or after the attack of opportunity? When you leave a space within 5 feet of a creature, you can force that creature to make a strength saving throw against your spell save DC. You leaving the creature, or you leaving its attack range. Or not, you're leaving its attack range. If this doesn't trigger before, okay, if this doesn't trigger before the attack of opportunity, this is probably pretty damn weak. If it does trigger before the attack of opportunity, which I think that this should, then this is a great use of this. If you're creating water around you, this is cool flavor on top of it, right? Because, I mean, you're getting a really, I would say being able to dash as a bonus action is a pretty nice thing to pick up. You being able to do this while you dash, ooh, pretty sweet, not gonna lie. Okay, so I think that this needs clarification to make sure that this doesn't require water to make this work. You're literally manifesting the water around you, so that could be pretty cool, right? Scorching Whirl. Flames wreathe your steps. Once before the end of your turn, you can force each creature within 5 feet of you to make a dexterity saving throw against your spell save DC. On a failure, a creature takes fire damage equal to 1d4 plus your spellcasting modifier. Okay, the fact that you're adding your spellcasting mod to this is kind of big. 1d4 plus spell mod. At least it does require the dex save. And it's a save or suck. So that's good. Once before the end of your turn, each creature within 5 feet of you to make a dexterity saving throw against your spell save DC. There's some interesting stuff in here about that kind of feels like it's evoking the same kind of ideas that I was going with for the Dancer. Sure, fire damage is not like the best damage type in the world to get, but it's not terrible bad. And you still have your action to do stuff, but like, whoa, man, each creature within 5 feet of you, you're putting yourself up into the front line as a sorcerer or wizard. I don't think that this is directly enhancing anything about the wizard and sorcerer playstyle. Attack of opportunity triggers at 5. Boreal Sweep should trigger after 5, right? Wait, what? Oh, okay. Sentinel Feet would prevent you from using it. No, you don't have to. You have to be on fire to use it. Just like pour alchemist fire on yourself and just run into the front line. That's so great. Yeah. I'll say, like, this feels like, at most, I would probably take this on Druid. I don't know that I would ever take this on Sorcerer or Wizard. This is really not in either one of their play styles. This is... Okay, let me tell you guys this. So, I'm sure many of you have seen my playstyle series where I talk about your combat roles, right? This right here is these are great for the Harasser playstyle, where you are a midline character, you're comfortable with being about 30 feet away from... Let's reduce that down, right? You're comfortable with being usually about 15 feet away from the enemy that you're attacking. And you want to pop in and pop out of that front line. The problem right here is that you do not have a disengagement tool. You don't have a disengagement tool here. So on Druid, which is about the only one I would say could actually use this subclass up to this point and feel like they had really much of any effect here, they still don't have a disengagement tool. Like, they've got their bigger hit die, and they can dash as a bonus action, which is really cool. But if they get up there and they're going to provoke attacks of opportunity, yeah, see, and this is the first one that comes up with, like, and you do not provoke opportunity attacks, which tells me that these other two do provoke opportunity attacks, which... I don't think that this one is going to be all that fantastic unless they get some of this defensive opportunity right up in here. Because this is encouraging you to, like, kind of dance around. Right. I see this, right? You create lightning, it doesn't provoke opportunity attacks, yada, yada, yada. And it's only one of the following effects. So it's not really helping, like I said, the Harasser playstyle. Until the end of your turn, you can move through the spaces of other creatures and you do not provoke opportunity attacks. Very, very cool, right? I get this. I like this. But we're talking about, this is supposed to be a defensive tool right here. If this is the reason, this is the thing that had to make the dancer work, right? Was that as a D8 character, if you're going to be doing this stuff that's going to, like, affect creatures around you, you have to have a disengagement tool, which is why as a dancer, attacks of opportunity have disadvantage against you, which means that effectively that dancer's armor class is 4.5 higher than otherwise, right? Mathematically, we figured out the disadvantage is like you subtract 4.5 to a roll. So it's almost as if your armor class is like 4.5 higher than usual. That's why I could justify that whole class not getting an unarmored defense kind of a thing. I think that that's a cool design. This needs something here to help with opportunity attacks, or else you're just going to keep getting hit. You're going to be trying to do this cool, like, cinematic, right? And you're just going to keep getting hit unless you do specifically this right here. Thunderlight Jaunt. This is actually... I'll say this. Wait, why did I... Okay. I think that if this causes the attack to have disadvantage because you knock it prone, pretty decent, but, like, still really meh. Scorching Whirl feels pretty meh. Thunderlight Jaunt is about the only one that's on here that I think is actually pretty useful. If you in your turn, yeah. You can only use it a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus, and you can use expended uses when you finish a long rest. Who's drinking with me? Okay. So, This is actually pretty weak. You can dash as a bonus action is a nice effect, right? The rest of it is encouraging a playstyle that I think is going to wind up causing a lot more harm to you than good. Because you do not have a disengagement tool to play the harasser playstyle, and you absolutely need that. You especially can't do this on a sorcerer and a wizard. You're gonna just get fucking bopped. You're absolutely gonna get bopped, alright? So, Thunderlight Jaunt is about the only one that I feel is actually useful and enhances the playstyle, specifically because it needs at least disadvantage on opportunity attacks as a core part of this dash as a bonus action. Dashing as a bonus action is great, but it's meant to do this cool cinematic here of like the dancing and everything, right? And you can only use a bonus action this way a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus. So it's not just that you can dash as a bonus action, right? Yeah, when you take this bonus action, you also choose one of the following effects. You can only dash as a bonus action a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus. So this is... You run real fast, like realistically, right? What are we talking about here? These are both cinematics, because in play, these could really get you fucked up, man. Like this could really, really hurt if you're trying to do what it seems to be trying to get you to do. This is the only one that I think gives you a reasonable amount of defense to do what this is wanting you to do. Dash and disengage as a bonus action, but only on the wrong classes. Exactly. If you have a D6 hit die, you should not be anywhere near the midline unless you have a class feature that gives you, like, at the very least, light armor proficiency. At the very, very least. In my opinion, the bonus action dash could be unlimited with juiced up on its number of uses. Yeah, even if they did that, I also kind of wonder if people are just going to take it so that they can get their bonus action to dash. Because, like, that's a very, very good use of your bonus action, you know? So, I actually think that Kinetic Artistry is pretty weak, unless you're basically only using it to do Thunderlight Jaunt. The other ones could get a buff. They could really, really get a buff. And the number of uses equal to your proficiency bonus. Maybe it's like you can only enhance the dash a number of times equal to you. I don't know. Yeah, that one's kind of a miss for me. Favorite medium. It does fit better on the bard. I'll say that. It does feel like it's trying to get that like sort of dancey bard across. So favorite medium, level 6, called Mage and Prismari feature. You have honed your forms of elemental expression to best suit your ideas. Choose one of the following damage types, cold, fire, or lightning. You gain resistance to that damage type. Alright. I'm just going to say cold and fire are probably a little bit stronger than lightning. Because cold and fire, as we've talked about many times here on the channel, come with the added effect of you automatically succeed on checks against extreme cold and heat. You can just go and dance in lava if you have resistance to fire damage. Or, I forget if you can dance in the lava quite yet, or if you have to have immunity. But anyways. Okay. The lightning is a nice perk, but like the other two are just kind of better pickups. Additionally, whenever you cast a spell using a spell slot that deals the chosen damage type, you emit a spectacular aura of artistry, which extends 5 feet from you in every direction, but not through total cover, and lasts until the duration of your the end of your next turn. While the aura is active, each creature of your choice has resistance to your chosen damage type while in the aura, as you shape your favorite elemental medium around them. You can change your choice of damage type whenever you finish a long rest. Now, it's chosen... Well, okay, you can swap it whenever you finish a long rest. Okay. That's super nice. This is only coverage against 3 types of magical damage, or, well, 3 types of damage, but those are very good damage types to have coverage against. And it's flexible. It's flexible. If you do the prep work to figure out, like, what damage type a creature's doing, it's going to feel fantastic. I'm going to give favorite medium a purple. Yeah, that feels really fantastic, actually. But it is tied into the condition. When you use a spell slot, right? Actually, let's mark that. There we go. You're going to have access to these spell slots. That's okay. But you have to choose, if you want the flexibility of it. Oh, this makes Chromatic Orb good. Like, really, really good, right? Like, that was already a really good spell. But now it's like a must pickup. Acid, Cold, Fire, Lightning, Poison, or Thunder damage from the orb you create. So, you just take Chromatic Orb, and then I guess you can't pick it up on Druid? So, Chromatic Orb is a must pick up on this subclass. Because it's going to give you the flexibility to do this pretty reliably. I mean, this is all really solid. I think I'm kind of still feeling a little underwhelmed because of this feature right here and the other first level. But, like, overall, this is a good effect. Oh, it's only 5 feet from you, though. But not through total cover. Oh, that's not detrimental to your character. It's just very, very weak. Right? Like, and everyone jams out with you, right? Yeah, like, okay, in play, theoretically, this looks really good, but I think there's a difference between, potential and practice. So, potentially, this looks kind of cool, right? But, like, I don't even think this is good enough for a dip. Within 5 feet of you, it's cool, and I like that. But, like, again, this is trying to encourage you to be a harasser, and you don't have a great defensive tool other than this right here. Again, I think that the only one that I would pick this up on is probably, like, I'm still getting pushed towards Druid. However, look at something specific with Chromatic Orb. You can only get this one on Sorcerer and Wizard. Now, sure, you can go is it Mage Initiate? Magi Initiate, whatever, and pick this one up. And that's going to help it be a little bit more flexible. But that's relying on feats. Yeah. I guess you do have ways that you can just, cast different spells to be, like, from the Druid spell list to do this. Okay, favorite medium. I don't know how I feel about this one, but I'm leaning towards this one, actually, because all these are really beneficial, but these restrictions are... maybe if Druid got access to Chromatic Orb, maybe if they had the... Oh, yeah, this one's kind of... I don't think that the playstyle this is trying to evoke really works on a Sorcerer or Wizard, really. And then that feature right there feels like it's almost punishing to the Druid that took it. I don't know. Okay. Focus expression. Honing your talents, you skillfully infuse your motions with even more potent expressions of elemental might. Once per turn, when you deal damage to at least one target, you gain an additional effect determined by the damage type chosen by your favorite medium feature. Wait. That's right, that's not even flexible. So, you're going to have to prepare the spell, which... Okay. Oh, okay. Okay. Alright. So when you deal damage to at least one target, you gain an additional effect determined by the damage type chosen for your favorite medium feature. Cold. One of the targets of your choice takes an additional 1d6 cold damage. It must make a Constitution saving throw against your spell save DC. On a failed save, the target's speed is reduced by 10 until the end of its next turn, and as Ice Mires it. The target can only be affected by this spell once per round. Okay, so its speed's reduced by 10 feet. We get that through Ray of Frost already. But I guess it's just bonus on top of all this stuff. Okay. I do like this. I mean, I like Ray of Frost overall, right? This is just bonus damage. It's here. Cold damage. It helps you lock down in a way that paralysis and stunned can't really help you. You know, grappled, whatever. Because it's reducing its speed rather than causing an additional effect. Because some creatures can be immune to those effects, right? Yeah. There you go. Brody said it best. I think these features are peer pressuring magic classes to becoming frontliners. I don't think that this is a good choice for any sorcerer or wizard whatsoever, because the playstyles that this is trying to evoke are really, really deadly to your character. Okay. One of the targets of your choice takes an additional 1d6 fire damage. Fortifying flames then dance around you. One creature of your choice within 30 feet of you. The chosen creature gains 1d6 temporary hit points? On top of the damage it already... I guess it's here, it's flexibility, but this feels pretty weak. Like, really weak, right? Yeah. The wizard with 10 health... If you're playing a wizard and you're even within like 30 feet of, you know, like the rest of this is all right? Okay, I'm gonna say this. The rest of this is all right. It's not really blowing up my skirt. But like the 1d6 temporary hit points, I guess it's just added on to you already using a spell, but like at 10th level? Yeah. Okay. It's there, you know. Lightning, one of the targets of your choice takes an additional 1d6 lightning damage and must make a dexterity saving throw against your spell save DC. On a failed save, the target is unable to take reactions until the end of its next turn, as residual lightning locks its form. Okay, I don't mind this all that much. I'm gonna call it purple because I like the lightning so far. I think lightning overall is kind of winning in this one. Maybe cold, I don't know. But yeah, okay. Focus expression is not bad. It's just... Can I say that mechanically it feels like this subclass feels like I'm having a hard time really feeling out the core loop for this subclass, you know? Like, it feels like I'm having to remember, okay, as long as my favorite medium is up, I can use this, bam, write this down, cool. Bam, I get that effect, and then, oh, I have this other thing I can do while I dash as a bonus action. Like, it just feels like there's clutter in here that, especially on a sorcerer and a wizard, I just don't think is all that great for the playstyle. Watsy and their obsession with caster has gone too far with marshals. We don't stand for this. Oh, man. This would make a lot more sense as like a fighter, right? Like an elemental dancer or something like that, you know, even bard, even monk. But like, then they're gonna say like, well, 4 elements, yada yada yada. Who cares? This is for a campaign setting. Like, yeah. Impeccable physicality. Your relentless dedication and training have instilled an outstanding sense of precision and grace in your art. You gain proficiency in dexterity saving throws if you don't already have it. Okay. 14th level is a little late to be getting that, but it's very, very nice. I would almost... Additionally, when you make a dexterity saving throw, you treat a d20 roll of a 9 or lower as a 10? That's skill floor. What? Okay. This is super good. But the problem is like, okay, if you're not investing in Constitution and your core casting ability, and you're just investing into dexterity all the way up to this point to make this actually pretty useful, then like, this could kind of not be great, right? This is a very, very common saving throw. And they're adding a skill floor into your saving throw, which is huge. The thought of this, I can see the design thought behind this, right? And it's that they thought that, like, you know what? They were probably investing into their core casting ability and most likely Constitution, which is weird on a dancer. So, like, let's do this. Let's make it to where, at this point, 14th level, you get proficiency with dexterity saving throws if you don't already have it. And then we're going to bring the skill floor up all the way to a 10. So, you getting the proficiency means that already you can roll no lower, unless your dex mod is negative for some reason. You can roll no lower than a 11, right? If your mod's a -5, which is not going to happen on a character option. It's just not going to happen. We're going to say that for all intents and purposes, the lowest that you're going to be able to roll on this is going to be a 17, okay? Or let's just say 16. Sure, whatever. Because you're going to add your proficiency bonus to it. I guess here in 3 levels. Sure, whatever. Okay, so this is... No, you can't. Yeah, you're not. I don't know that you're going to be able to get evasion with this. So your dexterity saving throws are already going to be about a 16, which, if that's the core thing for this subclass, okay, that's your capstone. That is a capstone. All right. Whoop, sorry about punching the mic. That is a capstone, but we're talking about your dex saves are most likely actually going to be something like a what are we saying here? 10 plus 6 plus, let's say, so like 18 at the very, very minimum. Very, very minimum. So that is significant. It is a capstone. And I think it's good. And it's the only thing that they gave you at 14th level. Okay, so I do like that at least it took you this late. It took you this late to get to that point. Like, yeah. I think that that's actually okay. And this is what I say. I talked about skill floors whenever I was talking about College of Eloquence. This is about the right time that I think... I have a hard time thinking that a skill floor should be a roll of 9 or 10 any earlier than like 10th level. 10th level. For real. Especially on something as mechanically sure in the game as a dexterity saving throw. We said that we didn't like it so much on a like social check for like, charisma checks and whatnot, but like for real, this actually has a more significant steadfast mechanical weight than you being able to adjust the DC for a social check. Rogue doesn't get reliable talent until 11th level. Yeah. Okay, so this one's actually really meh for me. I think the College of Prismari, I think this one's actually really, really weak. Druid is about the only one that I see the playstyle actually like kind of working. They still don't have a disengagement tool, which is like, don't do this on Sorcerer and Wizard. This needs help. You're gonna wind up getting your character killed doing the subclass. Yeah, these would be reworkable. I would say like if this was in an official book, this would be the only Sorcerer and Wizard I would actually put an F. So, okay, Mage of Quadrics. Sorcerer and Wizard only. For those who become Mages of Quadrics, math and magic go hand in hand. Cool! Yes! Cool! I love the concept of this. Please give us a more like academic magic kind of a wizard or sorcerer, right? Such individuals learn to break down natural phenomena into their core numerical components, and through manipulating those, alter reality on a whim. Their talents range from tangible physics, like multiplying plant growth and distributing elements of probability and acceleration, to bizarrely theoretical exercises that warp the fundamentals of space and self. Alright, I'm super hyped for this. Just reading the subclass text, this is probably the one that I would immediately take, right? I haven't seen anything further. That's it. So, what are we going to take a look at? This needs help. You're going to wind up killing your character. Yeah, I mean, yeah, because the playstyle of Sorcerer and Wizard were not considered while they were making that subclass. They get no defensive tools there, and honestly, if you play it in the way that it's trying to get you to play, rules as written, your character's gonna die. Like, I'm just telling you right now. If you do anything other than Thunderlight Jaunt, your character will die. This is that bad for you. In order for you to get any benefits out of those features, you're having to put yourself in the front line, and you don't have any defense against attacks of opportunity, which as a sorcerer and wizard means you will get melted for using your core features. Alright, so Quadric Spells. You learn the cantrip Guidance and the first level spell Guiding Bolt, so we're leaning in on Star Druid territory. Okay. You learn additional spells when you reach certain levels in this class, as shown in the Quadric Spells table. Each of these spells counts as the class spell for you and doesn't count against the number of spells you know. If you're a wizard, you add these spells to your spellbook upon learning them without expending any gold and prepare them as normal. Okay. Spike Growth, pretty great. Enlarge, Reduce, awesome. Buffer, okay. Aura, Vitality, great aura for you to pick up. Haste, great for you to pick up. I know I didn't do this for some of the other ones, but yeah. Control Water, situational, but it can be a pretty damn strong spell. Freedom of Movement, it's a pretty damn strong spell. Circle of Power, again, great spell. Pass Wall, great spell. Okay. This is for Sorcerer and Wizard only. Alright. So, already, their Quadric Spells are super, super sick nasty. I will always love a Twinned Guiding Bolt. Yeah. Oh, exactly, right? It's not exactly the highest damaging first level spell. I think that goes to Inflict Wounds. But Guiding Bolt is an amazing, amazing first level spell still. You being able to do that and then the next attack roll against it has advantage. Yeah, like, you know, like Eric was just saying right there, Fry Mayonnaise. You twin that with your sorcerer. Woo! Spicy. Okay. Functions of probability. Okay. By iterating on the mathematical patterns of reality, you can nudge chance to tilt around a creature. When you cast a spell using a spell slot that targets at least one creature, you can choose that creature or another creature within 30 feet of it, including yourself, and add one of the following effects. Diminishing Function. Hang on. Let me make sure I understand this. You can choose another creature, that creature or another creature, and add? Okay. So you cast that spell, and then you get another perk on top of it. Diminishing Function. The chosen creature must succeed on a Wisdom saving throw against your spell CDC, or the creature must roll a d6 and subtract the number rolled from the next attack roll it makes before the start of your next turn. Cool little defensive debuff there. Must roll a d6. I don't mind that. Cool. Diminishing Function. Overall, not terrible bad. Supplemental function. Once before the start of your next turn, the chosen creature can roll a d6 and add the number rolled to the attack roll or saving throw of its choice. The creature can then roll the d6 after the d20. So it's just for the attack roll. But this is working with twinning spells, isn't it? Because you can affect yourself and then make your twin spell even more reliable, right? So, all right, does this work with you hit it? Wait, you have to use a spell slot, twin, and then Guiding Bolt to follow that up? I mean, okay, if this is working the way that I think with Sorcerer, of course I think this is all going to be purple. This is pretty sick, actually. This is... Okay. So, if that works with Guiding Bolt, then it effectively means that you have a +8. Yeah, so if you do Guiding Bolt... No, this is separate from who the spell hits. But it can... No, it can affect you. So, you can target that creature with the spell, and then you can affect yourself with this supplemental function. So that's what I mean, is like, you can... I mean, you're buffing yourself here. Does a fireball target a creature? It targets an area. Targets at least one creature. You have to choose an area with that one. So I don't believe so, because you're choosing a point within range. So the creature is just like within the area of the targeted... The creature is within the targeted area, but it's not the targeted creature. That right there does not work with Fireball. Yeah, I don't think it does. This screams Tactician Mage, which I'm all about, right? That's what like a numbers wizard should be, right? I think this works with Ice Knife. Wait. Because Ice Knife, you can target a creature, right? I'm going to say this. As long as it says you target a creature, I'm going to consider this to work. Yeah, at one creature within range. So, I think it would work with Ice Knife. With Haste, you can use another spell in Fireball. Haste doesn't give you an additional... Haste makes it to where the action that you can use is only for specific actions, not cast a spell. Yeah, take the attack. Dash, disengage, or use an object action. So, I like this idea. I like this. That this is just a bonus on top of you casting the spell. You can do this. So, I'm gonna say that this is gonna be a purple overall. Like, okay, they're getting a very, very nice first level here. And I like this idea of, like, you thinking about the base components of what defines a spell, and then you can kind of, like, alter it in a way. I think that this is okay. Like, this feels pretty much alright, and I can think of some combos that feel pretty cool with this. Guiding Bolt is the one that first comes to mind, right? Like, okay, I'll move on, but I think that Functions of Probability overall is going to be a purple. Velocity Shift. Level 6+, Mage of Quadric feature. You learn to manipulate kinetic formulas and alter the velocity of another creature. When a creature you can see starts its turn or moves to a space within 30 feet of you, you can use your reaction to force the creature to make a charisma saving throw against your spell save DC, which it can choose to fail. Cool, so we have a benefit that's coming in here, right? Hang on. I love it whenever they do. I already get excited whenever options say they can choose to fail it, because I'm like, okay, this feels fun. On a failure, the creature is teleported to an unoccupied space of your choice you can see within 30 feet of you. You can use your reaction this way a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus. Okay, coffee drink. Alright. Okay. So, manipulate the kinetic formulas when a creature you can see starts its turn or moves to a space within 30 feet of you. This is such a good reaction. This is such a good reaction. You can pop your friends all over the battlefield with this. Okay. This is a set. Remember, someone was saying that this feels like the Tactician Wizard, right? This is absolutely the Tactician Wizard. You can use this reaction away. Okay. I think that I like this. What I would have liked even more, I love this idea. This is absolutely love this at 6th level. I told you guys how much of a fan I am of like the narrative of Misty Step, right? So with you being able to do this and just reposition and kind of like play chess with the whole battlefield, oh, this is sick. This is so sick. You can teleport your buddies with this, right? So you're going to be able to do this 3 times. Pretty soon you're going to be able to do it 4 times. I think that with this, it probably should have said, or could have said, you can use this as a reaction again if you expend the spell slot of, I would say at least 4th level to do this again. Yeah, I would say at least 4th level to do this again because this is such a cool, fun positioning tool. You're playing Robin from Fire Emblem. Yep, that's exactly what this is. That is exactly what this is. This is the Tactician from Fire Emblem. This is so fucking cool. I love this. I love this idea. Yeah, of course, Velocity Shift. Call me biased, whatever you want to call me. I don't know. I love this feature right here. So far, this is completely meeting up with all the hype. Completely meeting up with all the hype. Fantastic cantrip, fantastic first level spell. Great additional spells that you're getting with this. Null Equation. 10th level Mage Quadric feature. Through careful calculations, you beset your enemies with abstract equations that reduce their might. Once per turn, immediately after dealing damage to a creature, you can force the creature to make a Constitution saving throw against your spell save DC. On a failure, the creature has disadvantage on Strength and Dexterity saving throws, and its weapon attacks only deal half damage. Woo! What up?
Just getting a shirt for shopping.
Oh. Oh, are you working tonight?
Yeah, it's our first trivia back.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Okay. So, just making sure. Okay. Weapon attacks only deal half damage. This is great. Again, it's more immediately after dealing damage to a creature. So it's once per turn. And let me say this, because I'm seeing the equal to a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus, right? The reason why I don't mind it on this one is because they kind of need to do it here. Because they could base it off of your spellcasting ability modifier. Sure, they could totally do that. But that is going to produce different results. In a way that... how do I put it? This is going to produce different results on a mechanic that I don't necessarily feel is so core baked into the identity of just one class. Which is why I said in the past, I don't mind it on prestige classes so much, right? I like proficiency bonus scaling on racial traits, possibly on feats, you know? And then like on prestige classes, I don't super mind it. I'm not feeling as bad about prof scaling here. They're getting a lot of prof scaling, right? Like, good God, this is such a great action right here. Or no, sorry, reaction right here. Like, oh, that's so sick. This is... okay. This is a great debuff. This is... oh... Thanks for the $5, Eric, man. I appreciate it. Yeah. Come on, there's 54 people in here. Immediately after dealing damage to a creature. So this is... does not require a spell slot. You can do this with cantrips. You force it to make a Constitution saving throw against your spell save DC. Okay. On a failure, it just straight up has disadvantage on strength and dexterity saving throws. Cool. What's funny about that is, well, it doesn't synergize with this up here, but that is a lot of damaging spells you can throw out. A lot, right? Class features as prof is okay. Racials is a no-no, in my opinion. Racials need it for prof scaling because your racial decision doesn't really, it's not affected by your class path. It needs, yeah. Let's see, this wizard is absolutely my jam. Absolutely my jam. Hey, thank you. Yeah, Eric, you want to come and be my cheerleader every stream? So, weapon attacks only deal half damage. Okay, this covers a lot of territory. It does. It covers a lot of territory. And they last until the start of your next turn. Oh my God. Okay, so, now you can't use this necessarily to set yourself up all that well unless you do Twin Spell, right? Which, yes, you absolutely should take with this sorcerer. The wizard is going to have a bit harder time unless they take the Metamagic Adept feat from Tasha's. But there's a lot of wombo combo set up written here. Like, I mean, whoa. This is, you see what I mean about, like, why I love supports? You are trying to alley-oop for everybody here, right? Like, you are trying to do all the big setup. Like, this is so sick. I love this subclass. Quantum Tunneling. So, let's see what this glorious capstone is supposed to be, right? Quantum Tunneling. Level 14 plus major quadrics feature. Your mathematical expertise extends to altering the foundational equations of your very being. You gain resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage. I'm just... okay, the only reason why I sound like on that is like, I'm just so tired of seeing this thrown on everything. Additionally, you can move through other creatures and objects as if they were difficult terrain, but you take 1d10 force damage for every 5 feet you move while in another creature or object. If you, in your turn inside a creature or object, you are shunted to the nearest... Okay, so you get... Okay, this is incorporeal movement, but a little bit weaker, which entirely makes sense. As a magical tactician, of course that makes sense. I would not have thought of that. That's super sick. Okay. I would absolutely love to roll this thing up. This is so cool. This is so far my favorite one we've seen so far. Everything about the Mage of Quadric is evoking this feeling of you are a magical tactician, and it does so extremely well. Sorcerer's Origin nerd. Yep. This is, I think, one of my favorite subclass options I would have seen for Sorcerer in all of D&D 5e. I absolutely adore this subclass. Like all these spells are so good that, like, man, yeah, I this is an A+ for me right here. So far in the UA, we had some problems going on with Mage of Lorehold. There's definitely Prismari needs a complete overhaul. Mage of Quadric? Alright. Fucking print it and ship it. That thing is ready to go. I love this subclass. Compared to Clockwork Soul, I totally make this the Mechanist Origin instead. Yeah, I don't allow Clockwork Soul at my tables because of the issues that one creates. The capstone doesn't have a use limit, like permanent. Well, right, but because it ends if you end your turn inside of a creature or object, it'll shunt you out. Yeah, Warforged become a supercomputer with this, right? Oh, I love this subclass so much, and it's like if they wanted to make this, like, it feels like it fits so well on the wizard. But I look at Sorcerer and I'm just like, oh, there's so much to love here. Yeah. If you want to play a Tactician Wizard, this may be my favorite one I've ever seen. This is so sick. So sick. It is perma-resistance. I don't like this, okay? Only because this just feels like an excuse to give you a good feature at 14th level and eat up power budget. This is already so good. This is so good. Like, this is not my favorite thing in the world, right? Not my favorite thing. Artistically, I think you could scrap this, and I would have looked at this and thought, holy shit, you guys figured out how to really write for wizards, right? And then, like, this is just so cool. I love everything about this. This may be my favorite wizard, maybe my favorite sorcerer. I don't know that it completely dethroned Divine Soul. But yeah, absolutely love Mage of Quadric. So let's go into Silver Quill. For Bard, Warlock, or Wizard, mages of Silver Quill hone the power of words. They channel the magic of light and shadow through words, whether spoken aloud, written, or signed through gestures. The words of a mage of Silver Quill bring salvation to their allies and despair to their enemies. So we have the College of Disses, maybe? Okay. So, eloquent appearance. Every time I see this word now, I get scared, wizards. You learn one cantrip of your choice. You learn either Sacred Flame or Vicious Mockery. Okay, it doesn't count against the number of cantrips you know, and it's added to your class spell list if it isn't there already. Additionally, you gain proficiency in your choice of 2 of the following skills: Deception, Intimidation, Performance, Persuasion, or Insight. Okay, let me do some highlights. Sorry, now I got the hiccups. I don't think Intimidation's a great pickup. That's like the one charisma skill I just don't think. Anytime I try to see people really put Intimidation to use, it's like, yeah, it's not bad. It's just it feels like I never get people role playing on Intimidation, right? And it's so situational, like that it comes into play. Well, would you let me? Why are you not? Uh-oh, hang on. We might have to do a reset here, because my Adobe Reader is chugging. Are you... Whoop! Whoop! Yep! Hang on. God, you won't even tell me what's wrong with you. Hang on. Uh-oh. Hang on. What's happening? My computer's making sounds it usually doesn't. What's going on? It won't even let me like close it. And if I Control Alt Delete, I think that could mess up the stream. Come on, Adobe. What are you doing? Hang on a sec. Let me get this figured out real quick. Hang on, I will be right back. Just pull the power cord. And we're back. We're going from close videos. All right, cool. Sorry. We got it back. All right. Yeah, hey, thank you so much. Hey, to everybody, this stream is sponsored by Patreon, all my Patreon sponsors, so help me keep the lights on around here, coffee in my blood, help the streams keep going on. Yeah, it's been crazy seeing all the support. If you go check out my Patreon, I'm trying to do more Patreon exclusives. You guys are going to peek into the 5e overhaul project I'm currently doing. I'm just going to do this to not piss off Adobe Reader again. Anyways, so yeah, go check out Patreon, and then go check out my stuff over on the DMs Guild. Join up in the Discord if you haven't already, because we have a lot of cool conversations happening there, sometimes including some of the like industry pros. So it's been a really cool scene. Anyways, and subscribe if you haven't already. Throw $1 in the coffee tip jar if you can. So yeah. Eloquent Appearance, Apprentice. Okay, Sacred Flame of Vicious Mockery. After years of using Sacred Flame and everything with Sir Hammond, I think that Sacred Flame is not bad. It is not a bad pickup, but like, I think I would rather have Vicious Mockery, honestly. Like, if I could have just swapped the mechanics of the two and like just reflavored Sacred Flame as, you know, I don't know, Radiant, whatever. I think Vicious Mockery is just generally a little bit more useful, because like the big bonus to Sacred Flame being like you can target creatures that are in cover, like it's good. I don't think that it's a bad cantrip, right? But like the issue with Vicious Mockery is that it doesn't really affect constructs. A lot of oozes, a lot of aberrations, psychic damage. Yeah, if you were to compare the two, I guess you could say that they were both maybe roughly on par. But you just being able to get one of these cantrips of your choice is generally going to be great. Deception, Persuasion, Insight are all pretty strong, pretty common checks. Yeah, but Sacred Flame's power varies dramatically on how your DM uses cover, 100%. And Vicious Mockery has like a very hard to find debuff that happens with it, right? So yeah, depending on your table, Sacred Flame could be amazing, but Vicious Mockery is just usually the one that's not really left up to interpretation. It just does what it does. Silvery Barbs. You can invoke words laced with magic to demoralize your foes and turn their misfortune into a boon to bolster your allies. Immediately after a creature you can see within 60 feet of you succeeds on an attack roll, an ability check, or a saving throw, you can use your reaction to demoralize the creature. Let's do all of you. Bam. Unless the creature is immune to being charmed. Oh. That's not bad at first level. That is gonna get rough later. It rerolls the d20 and must use the lower roll. Okay, so it has disadvantage in a way. Okay, that's not bad. Okay, if the attack roll, ability check, or saving throw then fails, you can choose a different creature you can see other than yourself. That creature is empowered and can re-roll one roll within 1 minute. Okay. So it's not that this is bad, right? I understand that this shouldn't be universally applicable in absolutely every situation, right? But that being tied into like it can't affect creatures that are immune to being charmed. Ooh, that could really fall off later on. But in the first, second, third tier of play, it's gonna be pretty nice. Pretty nice. Yeah, it's cutting words with the serial number filed off. A creature can be empowered only by only one use of this feature at a time. Once a creature fails an attack roll, an ability check, or saving throw because of the roll forced by this feature, you can't use this feature again until you finish a long rest, unless you expend the spell slot to use it again. Okay, so with that, Silvery Barbs, we're kind of used to seeing this on like what, cutting words, right? Yeah, cutting words. Wizard doesn't have anything that feels a lot like that, so it feels like on Bard it's pretty par for the course, right? You get Vicious Mockery, you get Persuasion, Insight, or Deception, and then you get Silvery Barbs, which feels a lot like cutting words. So it is kind of a bit of a lore Bard appropriation right there. Warlock, I don't know that I would continue to be using my spell slots to use that feature. It's cool. Maybe? I mean, you do just get it, right? And if it succeeds, bam, then you get to... Okay, so this is actually not bad. If a creature's like or if the creature's immune to being charmed, then you still have uses of this, right? So, not terrible. Not terrible. You're spending a spell slot versus an inspiration die. That's a good point. The wording for the reroll is interesting. Most features like it. You use them before the result, but this triggers after. Yeah, so it's a little bit stronger that way, right? You're not imposing disadvantage on the roll. You're forcing it to roll the d20 afterwards. So, yeah. This is good overall, right? We know cutting words is good. So, yeah, I think that this is pretty all right. On Warlock and Wizard, I think it might be possibly a little bit weaker on Warlock because that spell slot you're going to have to use is going to be like later on a 5th level spell slot. I don't know that the effect is worth a 5th level spell slot. I don't know that this effect is worth a 3rd level spell slot. Possibly. Yeah, I don't know. You could maybe argue that this is kind of like counterspell in a way. There's an important distinction. What's that? Because you can give it to one of your buddies. Like, that's cool. It's cool that there's the buff and the debuff, right? So, like, cutting words has to be before the DM decides whether it succeeds or not. This one doesn't, right? So this is actually a little bit weak, or a little bit stronger, because the DM can say succeeds on an attack roll, right? And then you can force it to like do something else instead. So that does play out a little bit better than cutting words. So I'm going to be giving that one a purple. Inky Shroud. This whole subclass is like a sorcerer who wants to be bard but can't play instruments. Inky Shroud. You learn the darkness spell, and it's added to your class spell list if it isn't there already. Okay. If you're a wizard, you add it to your spellbook if it's not there already. You can cast a spell without expending a spell slot, and you can't do it again until you finish a long rest. When you cast a spell this way, you can see normally through the darkness created. And when a creature you can see starts its turn in the darkness, you can deal 2d10 psychic damage to the creature. You can do no save. You can cast a spell normally, but without the additional effects by using spell slots of 2nd level or higher. Okay. Alright. So this is a 20-foot sphere. Hang on. "15-foot radius sphere." Okay, that's my bad. But we're talking about 3 squares that way, 3 squares that way, up and down, okay? Can you lock down a creature in that sphere for the duration of 10 minutes? It's very possible that you're creating a meat grinder here, right? We have called it on here the wood chipper. It's possible that there are certain scenarios that you can literally just reduce its movement speed down to 0 consistently every single turn, and you lock it down in there, right? Sure, the monk can stun it. You being able to just choose to do this to that creature. If Shadow Monk could see through this darkness, it might be pretty sick, right? But it can't, because it can't stun the creature inside of it, and it's going to have disadvantage. Anyways, there's ways that you can do. Ray of Frost reduces movement speed down. You do this to a gelatinous cube. Ooh. The damage is what makes it cool, but like, creature with dark vision can't see through the darkness. I'm trying to see. That's right. So it stays there. Does require your concentration, double sight, and control. Oh yeah. Lance of Lethargy for Warlock makes this look scary. I'm gonna say that this one, if we can find something that can reduce, if we can find a combo that can absolutely reduce your movement speed down to 0 within the core rules of the game, then I would say that Inky. Okay, if we can find a combo that we can set up within 2. Okay, let me say this. Within 2 turns before you do this, if we can find a combo that will reduce the creature's movement to 0 consistently, and I will say from 30 feet down to 0 feet, death reduces your speed down to 0. If we can find that combo to happen, then I'm going to move this up to gray, because that should be a little insane. Can Earthbind work with it? I believe so. Maximilian's Earth and Grasp can, because it restrains the creature right there. Wait, isn't Earthbind the one that brings him down to the ground? Speed is reduced to 0 for the spell's duration. Concentration 1 minute. An airborne creature affected by the spell safely descends. Okay, so yes, this does work with Earthbind. Alright, so the combo with this is going to be, you go Earthbind, you drop this down, and then you just sit back in your lawn chair and drink some lemonade while this thing just gets psychologically tortured inside of this darkness for 10 minutes. So, wait, Earthbind, it gets to keep making the save, right? So it's for the spell's duration, but it doesn't continue. Or it's flying speed. Only flying speed. It doesn't reduce its like walking speed to 0. Yeah, only its fly speed. So yes, there is hold person. Hold person causes the paralyzed condition, but it gets to continue to make the saving throw at the end of each of its turns. So it does have a defense against this. This just doing the like at will damage. I think I can see that they're trying to make darkness really good. I don't know that this is completely the way to do this, but I can understand what they're going for, right? Isn't this just basically Hunger of Hadar? Hunger of Hadar has some other like effects that happen with this. Oh no, Earthbind is good. I mean, I love that spell. Earthbind, don't think about Earthbind as like, no, sure, this sounds like a way for me to try and make it sound good. Earthbind is great for control as well as an oh shit Featherfall, because it makes you safely descend to the ground. So it's not terrible, right? You could cast the darkness on an item and then mage hand around it. I think it has to be, it's like stuck to that point. Yeah, so Inky Shroud, this is very good. I'm worried about some combos that can happen with it, but I'm going to keep it at purple for right now. Infusion of Eloquence. When you cast a spell that deals damage, you can invoke additional words of power to change the spell's damage type to your choice from either Psychic or Radiant. Cool. If you're changing it to one of these two, don't change it to Psychic against a construct. Don't change it to Radiant against an angel. Yeah. Let's keep it blue. When you cast any spell that deals damage. And I don't mind this so much. I like the idea. Wait, isn't Silver Quill supposed to be the like gray / like black colored school? Like, this is supposed to represent black mana in Magic the Gathering? I wonder why they didn't go into necrotic with it. But I guess it makes sense. Oh. Any creature damaged by the spell takes extra damage equal to your proficiency bonus and has its emotions swayed with either despair or adoration based on the damage type dealt. Psychic, it's frightened of you or it's charmed by you with Radiant. Okay. You can use this feature a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus, and you regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. The extra damage type is nice. You can swap it, right? But like you can only swap it a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus? Separate these two. You can cause one of these effects a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus, and I'd still feel like it's kind of weak because it's tied into charmed or frightened. And these are not like super crazy damage types to really be getting. This one uses black and white. Ah, gotcha. So yeah, the radiant damage made sense. I like what the spell is doing, but I think that this needs to be separated. Allow them to change their damage type to either psychic or radiant, even like necrotic or radiant. I guess psychic, maybe there's something about, the college I don't really know for sure, but like these other effects are like kind of meh at higher levels of play. And here we are at 10th level, and like there's a lot of creatures that are immune to these effects. Like I think something like 70% of like CR 11 and above creatures are straight up immune to being charmed or frightened. So, necro or psychic most often. Okay, cool. Entangle would work with the Uber Darkness too. Yeah. I'm a little worried. Word of Power. You can invoke a Word of Power that is the pinnacle of your magical study. You gain the following options. Deadly Despair. When the target of your silvery barbs fails an attack roll, ability check, or saving throw, because of the reroll, you can invoke a Word of Despair to give the target vulnerability to one damage type of your choice until the start of your next turn. What? Why? 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 Okay, but like, it has to not be immune to being charmed. Okay, so you get this to go off. Like, you get this to go off, it melts. You don't get this to go off because the creature's immune to being charmed, and then you don't have a feature. Like, oh, this is Selfless Invocation. When a creature you can see within 60 feet of you takes damage, you can invoke a Word of Power, using your reaction to grant the creature resistance to that damage. And you take an amount of psychic damage equal to the... Okay, this is nowhere nearly as good as Deadly Despair. Nowhere nearly as good as Deadly Despair. Sure, it's a little bit more reliable, but like, it's not nearly as strong as Deadly Despair. Because like, you're gonna have to take this damage. And this whole subclass is somehow, it's either going to be like, it's either going to be that this subclass is so strong that it causes a lot of really weird situations in combat, right? Inky Shroud, you do this, and then you throw the vulnerability on top of it, and it's stuck in this darkness, taking an average of 22 damage every turn. Like, 22 damage just for being stuck here. Yeah, like, I don't think Selfish Invocation is, like, necessarily bad, but, like, as a capstone, Deadly Despair, inflicting vulnerability is super significant, especially for, like, an entire round of combat. Just do the psychic damage, and then, like, cause your ink ball to just chew them up. Like, yeah. I also dislike that this one has a damage cost and that the other, it just seems mechanically inconsistent. Right. The trigger for the... Wait, charm is disrupted by damage, but now damage causes charm. Charm's only this... Wait. Now damage causes charm. Well, you're not causing charm. It's just immune if that creature can't be charmed. Yeah. So, okay. This one feels odd. It doesn't really feel refined, right? Thinking about this on Bard, Warlock, or Wizard, I don't know that anyone really shines super hard. Maybe Bard, because this feels better than Cutting Words. How do I feel about Grave Cleric's vulnerability feature? I need to take a look at it. I don't really know super offhand. Can't remember right now. How do I feel about that? Because it's at, like, what? Path to the Grave? Yeah, because it's only on one attack instance. So you double the damage for one attack, and I don't mind that super much. Yeah, and that requires your Channel Divinity. Like, then, yeah. You being able to just inflict vulnerability like that? Alright, so here's what I'll say. Like, we were worried about power creep. If Wizards is going to just start throwing out, you can cause things to be vulnerable to damage, then we're going to break 5e. That is going to be the end threshold, right? I already said that, like, in Tasha's, I was worried about the power creep that was kind of going on with that. This, if you're allowing character options to inflict creatures being vulnerable to a type of damage, will break the game. Will absolutely break the game. Absolutely. This is tied to 14th level, right? I know I keep constantly getting that appeal to whatever. I always look at these on the whole, right? And, oh man. Yeah, we cannot keep constantly giving out all these character options that have an option to inflict vulnerability on damage to certain damage types with the current mechanic that vulnerability has. I'll say that much. And this could be very interesting if you take my suggestion, which is to swap the mechanics for crit and vulnerability. But, like, throwing this out there so often like this gets scary. Okay. Moving on to that. Mage of Witherbloom. Oh wait, you want to know my opinions on this? This one needs another pass. I don't know what's going on and why I'm having a really hard time with it. But it feels like there's some combo synergy in here that would not... It would become the default game loop of the entire party to set this up. Immunity is just a bad mechanic and we're saddled with it? I don't think so. I think you swap crit and vulnerability and we're pretty good. Pretty alright, Was looking at the 10th. Okay. So, Mage of Witherbloom. This is one that I think some people were kind of talking up in chat. Alright, so Mage of Witherbloom. Mages of Witherbloom draw their magic from the energy that endlessly flows from life to death and back again. They see the duality of thriving life and inevitable death in all things, tapping and manipulating the transition of energy between these states. Some Witherbloom adherents focus on vital energies to nurture life and empower others, while others embrace the drain of vitality into decay and sap to strike down their foes. Okay, so you get their 2 features. Alright, you learn Spare the Dying and Cure Wounds and Inflict Wounds? Whoa! Alright, so they're getting more than the other subclasses are. They're just straight up getting more. Okay, so let's keep that in mind. And by the way, it's not that they're getting more and these spells aren't that useful. It's fucking Cure Wounds and Inflict Wounds. These are both super impactful, and Spare the Dying as a cantrip that you don't have to take through your subclass or through your class. Yes, that's very, very significant. Very significant. Each of these spells counts as a class spell for you. You know how this works. Lesser Restoration, Ray of Enfeeblement. At least they got Ray of Enfeeblement holding this back because, good God, this spell is terrible. Yeah, this is very weak. You get Revivify. They get Vampiric Touch. It's alright. Blight, kind of blue. Greater Restoration. Anti-Life Shell. Not bad. That defensive bubble's not terrible. And then Mass freaking Cure Wounds. Alright. This is the most impactful of the spell list we've seen so far. Woo, man. That's big. This is big. Even compared to the other mages that are in this, like, if we're just looking at the base character options that are in this book alone, this is already bloated compared to the other ones, just with their spellcasting stuff right here. They're already getting an additional spell, which, by the way, is an extremely impactful additional spell. Like I said earlier, Inflict Wounds is the highest first level damaging spell you can do. They get Cure Wounds on here as well. This is on only a Druid and a Warlock. Only a Druid and a Warlock, but goddamn, you get Inflict Wounds. That's going to scale up real pretty for you. It's on a Warlock. You're getting Revivify once per short or long rest. You're getting, I mean, which kind of whatever. Greater Restoration once for short or long rest. Cool. Guess what? You don't really care about exhaustion anymore because you don't need to eat, you don't need to drink. You can just keep casting Lesser Restoration and get rid of all of your, yeah, that's what that spell being tied to a short rest really means for Warlock. You don't need to eat, drink, or sleep anymore. Just keep popping Greater Restoration on yourself. Okay, Essence Tap. As a bonus action, you can draw on a reservoir of life essence to empower yourself for 1 minute, or until you can use this feature again. For the duration, you gain one of the following benefits of your choice. Overgrowth. When you choose this benefit and as a bonus action on subsequent turns while the benefit lasts, you can expend and roll 1 hit die. Please keep playing with hit die mechanics. I love this mechanic. You regain a number of hit points equal to the number rolled, plus your spellcasting ability modifier. Okay. You're able to expend hit points as a bonus action. And it's only for you, right? Yep. Of course this is going to be purple. And I love that they're... Okay. They're using that so that you still have a resource tied in. Yeah, sure, it's great healing and stuff on there. Like, this is so freaking good. I love this design. Keeping it tied into a resource. It is your natural reserves that you are drawing out, to do this. Oh, wait. No, you might be right. I keep forgetting about... I always forget about material components it consumes. Yeah, 100 gold piece diamond. Yeah, never mind. I was wrong on that. Okay. So, I'm not super worried about that then. I understand this position, but I have to fundamentally disagree. The game has been broken not by power creep, but by monster design. I'd have to get... I think that that's going to require a lot longer talk than what, you know, I kind of planned for this live stream. But I think addressing, like, all the ways in which 5e has kind of led to the point of where it's in today, where we're getting some pretty stale kind of character options, that, you know, keep constantly saying, you know, right? You deal force damage, you deal force damage. Hey, here's some force damage. Here's resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage. They're throwing things on character options that they know are universally good, because, like, they're scared to take risks with other options. Now, sure, this whole idea, I just criticized, like, you know, it's frightened or, you know, whatever. Yes, at later levels of play, this can feel kind of meh, but I don't think that they should just be leaning away towards giving character options frightened or charmed effects. I think if you're investing that far into your character, they should figure out a way to still make it pay off for you, you know? Like they did with Fey Wanderer. Yeah. Fey Wanderer completely outclassed Arcfey Warlock because they just figured out ways to make it to where you're charmed and frightened. You won't be without features if you're fighting a creature that is resistant or immune, whatever, to charmed or frightened conditions. So, yeah. And there's other ways to address it that isn't just like we need to throw features on here for power budget, to eat power budget. Withering Strike. When you deal damage, you can change the damage type to necrotic, and you ignore resistance to necrotic damage. There you go! Oh! Okay! Alright. We have been... Okay, all of us homebrew designers that have been making our classes and everything have been doing this on so many options that are relying on a core damage type. Like, oh, God. Okay, yes, I'm happy to see that Wizards of the Coast is really finally starting to kind of lean into this idea. We homebrew designers have been doing this. If you're gonna specialize, yes. This is a great change. It doesn't totally override immunity, right? But like, this is super nice. This would really, like, this helps out necrotic damage a lot. It could help out psychic damage a lot. It does not help out poison damage. So poison damage needs a whole other thing, but that's for a longer discussion. You can use this a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus, and you regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. So this is already tied into a resource, and I do think that, like, if you're using a bonus action to regain hit die, if you're just gaining them equal to a roll of the die, then, like, you can do it. If that's a core class feature, it wouldn't really need to... it wouldn't really need another restriction, right? Because you're already burning a resource to do that. However, the fact that it's tied into your spellcasting ability modifier, notice not your constitution, you can do this. I mean, a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus. This is nice, right? I like this idea a whole lot. I really do. I wish you could do it more. Withering Strike is nice. I don't know that this all had to be tied into proficiency bonus usage. But I guess this is whenever you deal damage, straight up, you can change it to necrotic and ignore resistance. So, I like Essence Tap. I like this a lot. I think it could be opened up just a little bit more in terms of its usage. It's basically ignore all resistances except the enemy has immunity. Yeah, exactly. Whew. I'm glad that this is the last one, because, like, woo, man, my throat's getting shot. Okay. Yeah, otherwise it's a throw to ever pick poison damage. Exactly. Witherbloom Brew. You gain proficiency with herbalism kits if you don't already have it. That's very late to be getting that. I actually think that should be probably... okay, I understand why they didn't throw it in earlier, because, like, they really bloated this down right here. Druid and Warlock. Okay, Spare the Dying is rare. Wait, Druid's already going to have proficiency with the herbalism kit. Wait, that's redundant. So it's only for Warlock? My dudes. So that's redundant on the Druid. And I guess it's a proficiency you're getting a little bit late on the Warlock. When you finish a long rest, you can use an herbalism kit and a pot or cauldron to create magical brews. You can create a number of brews equal to your proficiency bonus. Each brew requires its own flask. A brew retains its magical potency for 24 hours until it's used. For each brew, choose one of the following effects. Fortifying. When you create this brew, choose a damage type from the following list: cold, fire, necrotic, poison, or radiant. A creature can drink this brew to administer to another creature as an action. Resistance to the chosen damage type for 1 hour. Okay, all good. Let me do this. Wait a minute. This is all gonna be purple. About the only time... Actually, hang on. Okay, it's not extremely often that any creature is going to be doing radiant damage to you. It just doesn't really happen all that much unless you're fighting gods, like, you know. But great effect in here. You can get resistance to it. Great. You can dish that out to multiple creatures. Fantastic. Fantastic. Quickening. A creature can drink this brew or administer it to another creature as an action. Actually, you know what? You're right. It's not fair that I call that weak. Yeah, that's green. A creature can drink this brew or administer it to another creature as an action. The recipient regains 2d6 hit points and 1 disease or 1 condition from the following list. The recipient ends charmed, frightened, paralyzed, poisoned, or stunned. Okay. It's odd that it's like, here, drink this, and your buddy's like over there just like, like, just paralyzed and can't, yeah, anyways. So, okay. Yes, you can spend downtime getting proficiency with a set of tools. Okay. So, this is alright. Yeah, sure, it's better than Lesser Restoration, which is a 2nd level spell. Yeah, this is an alchemist. Sure, freebie second, let's say this. It's better than a freebie 2nd level spell because you're also restoring 2d6 hit points to the creature. Number of times brews equal to your proficiency bonus. You know what? The options here are actually meaningful. I do like this overall. Quickening is I don't know. Toxifying. As an action, a creature can apply this brew to a simple or martial weapon. The next time weapon or a piece of damage it hits a creature within an hour, the creature takes 2d6 poison damage and must succeed on a Constitution saving throw against your saving throw DC or be poisoned for 1 minute. Don't do that. All right, we can move on. Just don't do it. Don't do it. Stop it. Just like about the only time I think that this might be worth it is like, all right, look, when you deal damage, you can change the damage type to necrotic and you ignore resistance to necrotic damage. Combine that with this, it's possible that this might be okay, but it's okay at best because it's only poison for 1 minute. Any combination we keep trying to do to make poison damage work does not fucking work. I keep trying with this, like poisoning. I think like what you're gonna have to do is like, oh man, like you have to be able to treat immunity. Yeah, 2d6 and no scaling. It's like every time they keep trying, like the save is pretty high though. But there's so many creatures that are immune to being poisoned. They're not only immune to poison damage, they're immune to being poisoned. Like, yeah, like, it's just super blah. Oh, I'm not getting mad. I'm not getting mad at all. I'm just like, oh, it doesn't work. Like, it doesn't work. No, I'm not mad. It's just like, don't do this. Like, let me just tell you guys, like, don't do this. Don't do this. If you're thinking about rolling this one up, this is a waste of such a good resource. And even then, with these numbers, why is this even remotely being considered to be anywhere near the same? as quickening or fortifying. If we're just doing comparative analysis, toxifying is a complete bunk waste. Don't do this. Do not. Please stop dealing poison damage. At least in the current rules of 5e, it's just not great. Let me show you guys exactly how bad this is, right? Let me emphasize to you all why you need to stop trying to deal poison damage to things. Because in 5e, it will not reward you for trying to experiment and play with your character in that way. And it's going to be very, very frustrating, and you're going to wind up hating the game. Poison damage, immunity. Let's filter this. Alright, so there's about 20 different options. 20 different characters or creatures show up on D&D Beyond whenever you do a sort like this, right? Per page. 26. And I know there's not a full 20 on the last page. Right. Let's just be conservative and say that there's 10, right? So 20 times 25 plus 10. Okay, so 510 creatures amongst all of the monsters in D&D 5e that we currently have. And this is also sorting for Ravenloft. I own that book. Now, let me do something else here. Let's consider who all is resistant to poison damage. Oh, okay, about 80-ish, right? Little under. Okay, around 80, right? So 590 creatures in all of 5e that are resistant or immune to poison damage, with a vast majority of them being straight up immune. Now, let me show you something to emphasize something here. How many creatures are vulnerable to poison damage? 1. 1 is vulnerable to poison damage. And it just got added to the game. Now, that's correct. Yeah, not a dog. Now, how many creatures are immune to being poisoned? Oh, look, even more. This has got to be something like around 550, right? Maybe about 540, something like that. So I'm saying this to emphasize that, like, of all these creatures, I think, all right, let me remove any filters. And I can't go through and count down absolutely every single one. All right, so 97. The thing is that the creatures that you encounter early on are still going to be, it's going to be fairly frequent that creatures are going to be immune to poison damage. It's just the way that the game is built right now, right? Like, it's just, yeah. So they keep trying to make poison damage work this way. Wait, so first I'm mad about adding vulnerability, and now I'm mad about an immunity? What the hell? No, you got it wrong. I'm not mad about an immunity. I'm not mad. I'm just giving advice here to people that are trying to play 5th edition. If you do poison damage in D&D 5e, you're going to have a bad time. You're going to be wasting your turns because, like, it's just not an effective damage type. And I'm trying to emphasize that point here. I'm not mad about it at all. What I am saying is that poison damage is just that bad. And I keep getting pushback about it here on the channel. Like, I got 64 viewers in here, which, by the way, subscribe if you haven't already, if you're enjoying the content. But my point is that they keep making poison damage dealing like the sole feature that a lot of options get. And no, I'm not mad. No, I'm not mad. I can talk about something with fiery passion and not be mad. You chill. No, this is a damage type that if you're doing as a character, you will be very, very frustrated playing the game if you keep trying to do this, right? We've solved poison damage with the subclass option that lets you give vulnerability to use. Yeah. Hey, now you can just keep throwing vulnerability out there, right? My issue with poison damage due to its lack of effectiveness, WotC here says vulnerability to get that around, and you are against that as well. Okay, so you're telling me I need to build my entire character around being able to cause a creature to be vulnerable to poison damage, to make poison damage effective, and they haven't included wording that, yeah, there you go. Amplified emotion for entertainment. So, let me talk about this. They haven't included wording here that says that vulnerability overrides immunity or resistance. Because they didn't include that wording, they're leaving it up to DM interpretation, which means that they wouldn't have even solved for the issue in the first place. So, okay, let me say why I'm worried about vulnerability giving it to all, right? This is, and I don't want to make the assertion I could have done this better. I don't want to make that assertion. What I am saying is that it's creating a frustrating game loop. This is either going to be, okay, either this does nothing for you, either this does nothing, right? You start throwing out your actions where you can be doing so much other good stuff, or you get to a game loop where it's simply, we have to make this creature vulnerable to make ourselves relevant in combat, which I don't think is healthy either. So it's either you have to do something that makes a creature take 2.5 or 2 times the damage from all of our attacks in order for us to do anything that's worth it. Like, I don't think that that's a healthy game loop. Like, people are going to get bored playing D&D because it's literally just going to be, make this creature vulnerable to something, hit it with the something, let's move on. That's all combat will turn into. We have to recognize as designers what's healthy for the game. And, like, this is an option. This is an option. Absolutely an option. But this is, if this is the way that WotC is considering how valuable poison damage is, 2d6 poison damage is terrible compared to restoring 2d6 hit points and ending one of these effects right here. Don't ever believe that you would ever do this. Ever do this whenever these two other options are available here. This straight up giving you resistance to poison damage? So freaking good. So good. So good. I've been inclined. Okay. Oh. How's the summer in Oklahoma? Hey, 70 viewers! What do you know? Hey, welcome everybody. Summer in Oklahoma, we hit 90 degrees today. It is fucking hotter than a crotch in August out there, man. It is boiling here in Oklahoma right now, which I'm happy. Dogs are happy. They've been basking in the sun all day. So, all right, let's check these out. Okay, wait. Mecha Gengar said, I don't think it's necessarily a healthy game loop, but if there's a problem and they introduce a solution, albeit an and one, we should at least consider it. This isn't a solution, and adding yeah, but I can recognize whenever something's a problem. I've been writing for this game for a real long time. Real long time. Like, okay, I've been, as much as you guys are here and you see my content and everything, I put in probably about 3, if not 4 times the amount of time in just writing stuff for the game and running the game. Hi. Hey, what's up?
I'm leaving for shuffles.
Alrighty.
Oh yeah, I'll be closing also.
Okay.
So I'll be back around like midnight or so.
Cool.
Yeah.
I got.
And you have how many people that are on here just now?
We hit what? 69.
Hey, perfect. She wants
right.
to D&D. All right, I love you.
All right, love you too. See you later.
Bye everyone. Have fun.
So, I've been writing for this game for a while. Yeah, sure, it's in a homebrew capacity, but you know, let me tell you this much, okay? I can recognize whenever a character option comes out that creates what I'm going to call a default, and I say probably an unhealthy playstyle, right? We recognize these synergies because we're like, cool, we want to establish a core game loop, right? And if your only game loop is going to be, I'm going to make something vulnerable to this damage so that we can just nuke it with force damage because no creature is immune to it, and we don't have any text in here that clarifies what happens in that interaction, then that's literally the only thing. That's literally the only thing you are doing. That is a bad, this is an erasure of any meaningful choice. And, like, I'm just saying, like, I have money for, well, hey, I appreciate that. I appreciate that. If you're erasing choice, you should not be erasing choice with that. You should be getting more choice, right? And vulnerability is such a harsh thing to inflict. Oh, man. Like, I Oh, yeah, well, thank you guys. Thank you. I feels a little validating. Yeah, like I've been studying this game for a while, all right? And I will say that like what we like to do is we like to create options, right? We don't want to make options that are so good that we completely erase any kind of meaningful choice from anything else, right? That was my big critique against the Ill Rigger, is that that class was not a 5th edition class. That class, and Matthew Colville has gone so far as to basically say that, right? He was designing that class to what he thought would be cool for D&D 5e, not compared to any other 5th edition option. So, that being said, that class came out and it was significantly overtuned. And, I mean, we know that it has been because they are reworking it. So, yeah. Anyways, I can recognize whenever I think that something is going to create a bad gameplay loop. And a bad gameplay loop is one that becomes the default for the entire party, which if you saw, is it Taking 20? If you saw his video on why he's quitting Pathfinder, is exactly the kind of problem that would wind up happening in D&D 5e. So, yeah. Oh, right there. Yeah, but we don't make things vulnerable to force damage because of the strats. It's for the meme. Yeah. I was an hour. Yeah, we did. It says choose one feature, but it's literally just exactly like we were reading it, because it says choose one feature, but here it says you gain 2 features. So like, I don't know. I don't know why they included all that wordage beforehand, because it yeah. Okay, so back on this. Witherbloom Adept. Level 10 plus Mage and Witherbloom feature. Your connection to the flow of life force deepens. Once per turn, when you deal necrotic damage or restore hit points using a spell, one target of the spell takes additional damage or regains additional hit points equal to your proficiency bonus. Okay, so it's only once per turn? Okay. So the way that they're trying to make poison damage work is that they're trying to keep it. Yeah. So they're trying to make it to where you can change it to necrotic, and then you come over here and then add your proficiency bonus to it, right? Instead, that doesn't work for this, because this is not a spell. So once per turn, when you deal necrotic damage or restore hit... Oh, wait. Or restore hit points using a spell. So it might work if you transform that over here, and then come back and get it here, then you get more poison damage, right? It's still bad. It's still bad. Like, okay, it regains hit points, sure. Like, that's all fine and dandy. That's all fine and dandy. Once per turn, bam. That's all fine. This is very meh. It's still tying it into, like, they want to make the brew better? Oh, no, you know what this does make better, though? Inflict wounds. And Vampiric Touch, right? And Blight, I think. Like, it's still making necrotic damage better. Definitely. It's not really enhancing anything about the poison damage. But you're becoming pretty major. Do I? I don't think. Oh, yep.
Okay, thank you. Love you, bye.
Love you, bye. You all right?
Yeah.
All right. It's not. It's. I'm separating being, enthusiastic or whatever about trying to make poison damage work from. Okay. So, generally okay. Generally not bad, right? It's just additional damage you get on top of it, or additional hit points. Neato. Cool. I think I was trying to see, because chat got really busy there and I kind of got lost talking about that. Too many choices that have so many changing consequences. Yeah, it's like, it's because I've been working with Dan on the Scion, and really he's been reinforcing this idea of like how tracking becomes pretty obnoxious to use for character options. So like, I track this. I can deal 2d6 poison damage, except I know that that's going to be really, really bad. So instead, I'm going to go up here and be like, oh, then I'm going to use this feature that costs me a resource to use to make the poison damage any good. And then I can go down here and I can add what? 4 to the damage it deals. So I'm doing 2d6 plus 4. Who cares about that at 10th level? Just cast Inflict Wounds. Stop trying to make it work. Just cast inflict wounds. Just do it. Just do that instead. It's like it's trying to make it work, but it's not. You know, like this option, poison damage. What I think Wizards really needs to do, okay, is they need to hire out some of the people that are in the homebrew scene to try and address a few core issues with some of the damage types in D&D 5e. The damage type circle in D&D 5e, the whole issue with crits, vulnerability. You want a color rating for the McDonald's? Better fries than what I've had in the past, but not the best. They'd be a blue. The burger, same thing. It's about a blue. Yeah, exactly. 2d6 isn't anything at 10th level. You're going to be doing better with this, especially on Warlock. Inflict wounds. Just keep doing that. You've got so much other cool shit that you can do with it. The resistance to necrotic damage. Or the overriding resistance to necrotic damage. Yeah, don't try to make poison work. That's going to be a trap playstyle for you. Withering Vortex. When you cast a spell using a spell slot that deals necrotic damage to any number of creatures that aren't undead or constructs, choose one of the creatures that took damage. You drain an amount of life energy equal to half the damage dealt to the chosen creature. Okay, it needs a spell slot, so I'm not worried about bag of rats. One other creature that you can see regains a number of hit points equal to the life energy drained. You can use this a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus. Cool. Alright. I don't see a big problem with that. They managed to figure out a way to do the life drain, give it to another creature. Pretty sick. It is going to require a spell slot, especially on Warlock. It's going to have to get that, really. Yes, it needed to be tied into you having a spell slot to do this. Druid has some options in which they can do it a little bit more reliably, but not bad overall. But I like the fact that you can give this to other creatures. You know, this is going to require restore hit points using a spell. When you cast a spell, I wonder if... Okay, someone correct me if I'm wrong here. It doesn't double up, right? It doesn't double stack this, because you're already going to deal the proficiency bonus flat for the necrotic damage, and then you can pass off proficiency bonus. So you can pass off this damage. It won't double stack, so that doesn't mean that you can do attack, proficiency bonus modifier to the damage. I'm going to take this lump, throw it over to my buddy, and hey, they're going to get an additional stack of that. I don't think that's how that works. If it does, I'm not a huge... I'm not super adverse to that. But it's definitely increasing, you know. I like the idea of what this says for Druid being like kind of a blight blight lich kind of Druid, right? Oh, why no background music this time? I don't know. What do you think we are? Professional production company around here? I like the life-seeping force of what's going on, right? And another reason was the DMCA, the copyright claim that got put on the 6-hour live stream. I'm being careful. So, I like the idea of what this is doing. There's some cool stuff in here that I think maybe Circle of Spores could have gotten, right? Like, that's supposed to be our lich hippie druid, you know. Over here in Witherbloom, it feels like it's kind of rubbing on that, and I'm fine with that. Warlock getting inflict wounds that they can dish out, you know, it gets some help. Like, yeah, that's gonna be nice. Even like, man, cure wounds. I think that Witherbloom is pretty cool. I think that their spells that they're gonna get right here are way bloated compared to the other ones, simply because they're getting inflict wounds. And I think that WotC should make a decision whether or not they're going to give you Spare the Dying or Cure Wounds, or Spare the Dying or Inflict Wounds, or Cure Wounds or Inflict Wounds. They need to give you 2 of these, not all 3. I mean, even the rest of their spell list is super sick. So, all right, I will say that I would allow Mage of Witherbloom at my table. I don't think that there's a big problem going on here. I just tell people, like, I'd highly suggest you do not screw with anything that has to do with this. The other two options are significantly better. It's not even a contest. Mage of Silver Quill, I think, is I can't figure that one out. I'm more likely to say it's probably overtuned. And this can create a playstyle that I don't think is super healthy for the game. Scrolling back up. Mage of Quadrics. This may be one of my favorite character options I've seen so far for D&D 5e. I absolutely adore this. I think that this is going to be like the way that we make Tactician Wizards, Tactician Sorcerers. This is so unique, and I almost wish that like they would just straight up make a math nerd with a sorcerer here. That would feel so sick. I don't know, what could it be? You are infused with the eternal equation, right? Whatever. Like, even with something like this, it feels like you are a quantum soul, or I don't know, whatever. You have quantum blood. I love this subclass so much. College of Prismari. If you go this and you're taking sorcerer or wizard, your character will die very quickly. Very quickly. Druid might be able to make this playstyle work, but Druid not getting Chromatic Orb, like, they have their elemental spells. I don't think they'd be hurting super bad there. Druid is about the only one I think that could make this subclass work. And then I actually do like the Mage of Lorehold. I do like this idea. Again, we need to get rid of all the vulnerability that's on here. I'm very worried about what that says for 5e. And I like the fact that you can create a frontliner for your entire party, and you can roll out like the wizard squad, you know, the math, what is it, math league, I don't know, whatever. You guys can be like, we want to play nothing but backliners that deal a whole bunch of damage. If you roll this up, this gives you your frontliner right here. And I love this idea. Help, my monsters are melting. Schrodinger's sorcerer. Oh, man. Anyways, yeah. So, more than not, I like what I'm seeing in here. I do like what I'm seeing in here. I like the interesting idea that these are subclasses that you can path into from multiple different classes. I think that it's a very cool design choice that they're making. But the problem being that there's a lot of thought in here about cool features and not a lot of thought about playstyle with some of these options. This makes a lot more sense on a monk that already has a disengagement tool. It might be a little bit redundant, maybe. This makes a lot more sense on a monk or on a rogue than this does on a sorcerer or a wizard. 100% makes a lot more sense there. They need a disengagement tool to make that work. Mage of Quadrics almost feels like it should lean more into like one or the other of sorcerer or wizard. I would highly encourage Wizards of the Coast to choose one of the two. If you print it this way for like Mages of Strixhaven, cool idea. Go for it for that book. But I would love to see Sorcerer get this subclass. It would make sense on Wizard, sure. But like I would love to see Sorcerer get this subclass exclusively. That would make me really want to play a Sorcerer. Mage of Silver Quill, I can take it or leave it. Yeah. The Inky Shroud, I'm worried about. Word of Power, this Deadly Despair is just heads and tails above Selfless Invocation. If anything, this might make more sense as strictly a bard, but Silvery Barbs is already better than like Cutting Words for Lore Bard. I have to say that maybe this only really makes sense on a wizard. I don't know. Mage of Witherbloom. God, this feels like it could be such a cool druid subclass. It might need some help to like kind of distinguish itself from spores, but I don't mind this so much. I really don't. Warlock is just getting so many new toys to play with here. Warlock to, okay. Warlock's on 3 out of the 5. Okay. So yeah, I don't know. Has anybody got anybody got anything that they're like, Taryn, why didn't you talk about this? Martial setting is Dark Sun. I am very, very, very skeptical that we're ever going to see Dark Sun make a return. I think there's just too many associations, like too many themes of Dark Sun that we're, hey, Pen and Blade, thanks for being here. Thanks for subscribing. Welcome to the madness. There's too many themes of Dark Sun that I don't think, number one, I don't think that there's a really big, I don't think that there's a really big desire to have Dark Sun back. And I think that anytime that we see the desire to bring it back is usually from people that like are strictly pushing back against, like, you know, they say that like Wizards is getting too woke right now, right? Dark Sun has some themes in it that legitimately are pretty concerning. So I don't blame Wizards for being like, you know what? You guys pick it up. You guys go do what you want to do. You want to go buy that campaign setting book? Go get it. We just don't know that we want to make it anymore. But I could very well see things like Spelljammer coming back, right? I could see Planescape coming back. Kryn, Greyhawk. I just think that there's so many other settings that, like, man, it makes way more sense to come back. Actually, what I want to do is there's one campaign setting that I would be like, you know what? I think what Wizards of the Coast needs to do is get super out there and take another risk like they did with the Rick and Morty thing, right? Because I've actually emailed this guy in the past. So I was working on a project where I was trying to make an Adventure Time campaign setting for the Land of Oo. And I was actually talking with Pendleton Ward a little bit on Gmail about, like, is there going to be any problems with IP? Is that, you know, whatever. And he was like, no, actually, like, I think it would be super cool. I don't know that Wizards of the Coast is extremely interested in making that happen, but they'd have to talk with Cartoon Network. I think it sounds cool. And I'm like, man, it was a lot of work I put into that one. And I'd love to make it happen. But honestly, dude, if Wizards of the Coast announced that they were going to do like a Land of Oo campaign setting, you know how much respect I would give to Wizards of the Coast for being that bizarre. Because like, it would totally work, right? Like Adventure Time D&D would super work. The other ones they could go with, like Cosmere, if they contact like Brandon Sanderson to try and make like Allomancers, Hemomancy, like all that stuff in D&D. Oh my god. Yeah, because like they've already gone for like, I think that there's already like a Westeros and 5e sort of thing. But yeah. That'd be out there and definitely work. No, I'm telling you, I'm right. Like, dude, please. Who wins a fist fight free for all between your patrons? You know, I haven't seen any of my patrons' faces. I would say the only person I know that's in there, my buddy Gates is pretty scrappy, so might be her. Looks like Rick and Morty campaign. I just want some candy damage spells. Yes, candy damage, right? Like, come on, that's so funny. Mistborn already has a TTRPG, but it's outdated. It's outdated, and like Brandon Sanderson has even said in the past, if I remember right, that they... I was trying to remember what was going on. Like, the system is something like 15 years old for the Mistborn TTRPG. Yeah, we have multiple magical rogues but no thug subclass and a whole caster setting. And now a whole caster setting. It seems like WotC wants everything to be magic. And I agree with that, right? Like, that's why I said, hey, WotC, like, you should contact the people that have just made cool martial classes and talk about, like, maybe incorporating some new martial classes and expand the palette of options for D&D 5e. This is all, like, did anybody remember, like, you know, monk, sorcerer, or monk, rogue, paladin, yeah. A deer with hands without. CR27 creature. Oh, man. Wait, what? Kelsier's in Fortnite? No. Wait, what? What? You're kidding me. I had no idea this was a thing. They put Kelsier from Mistborn into Fortnite? That is, like, I mean, okay, whatever. Like, it's not a game I ever really intend on playing, but, like, dude, what? Oh, that's sick. I love that he's getting attention. I love that, like, it's legitimately, like, amazing character. I had no idea he was getting put into Fortnite. That is so damn funny. Yeah, okay, so you want some cool martial classes to add to your game? Because yeah. If the idea sounds appealing to you, check out my dancer. I very, very much tried to stick very closely into making a martial support that got nowhere near Bard. God, thanks again, Eric. Oh, man. Thank you so much for all the donations. I seriously appreciate you, man. Monk still exists. Right. However, all right. If you want to expand the palette of what martials can be in your game, pick up The Pugilist by Benjamin Huffman. It's an insane, probably the best-selling class, maybe second to the Blood Hunter. Maybe even, I don't know total sales, but it may have possibly outsold the Blood Hunter. And that's me, I mean, long shot, I don't know for sure. But it is tried and true and tested. If you want a non-magical, non-mystical kind of a monk, dude, the Pugilist knocks it out of the... I mean, you know, anyways. That's funny considering he just did a baseball-themed Pugilist fight club for there. Go check out Benjamin's Pugilist. I wrote my dancer. All the playtest feedback I've gotten on that has been, like, very, very overwhelmingly positive, and I'm so happy to be hearing, like, all the response from the dancer. So, Pugilist, dancer... Mage Hand Press did a really interesting Warden, which is, you want to talk about, like, someone that's just meant to be a big, big wall in the party. Like, dude, that is such a great frontliner. Mage Hand Press even did a version of the Alchemist that is not magical. And that's the version links there kind of all over the place. I need to do this. I'll be doing a video here very soon where I'm talking about all the different classes I allow in my, or all the different homebrew classes I allow in my campaign. Okay. So, I allow, for sure, if we're just talking martials, there we go. So, the Alchemist from Mage Hand Press. If anybody in chat has the links to these, toss them up. Because, yeah. Alright. Pugilist by Benjamin Huffman. Oh, come on. I just got mine converted now. I can't find the link to it on the DM's Guild. There we go. Alright, so this version of the dancer, I wanted to make this like non-magical, absolutely non-magical. So this is, if you want to roll up a straight up support, martialist, if you want to try and see how to make that happen, go check this out. You can check out, I'll give you a full preview right there. There's even a completely free version of it that you can get over on the DM's Guild if you just want to see what all's going on with it. It's print friendly and all that stuff. You don't get all the different subclasses with it, but you do get enough to really get this thing going. Benjamin did, I want to say he did something similar. Didn't he do a preview version? I think he may have. But I add these 4 to my campaigns, like the Complete Alchemist, because I just don't think that it totally, like, I get it. It makes sense as like a artificer in a way, but like I don't like the narrative of that. Yeah. And then the Warden is like, I wanted another really cool hardcore frontline option like the Barbarian, but that felt more just like kind of like a classic knight in a way. And this does things, and like you're trading off the spellcasting and smiting of Paladin for a D12 hit die, and some abilities that are going to be just like complete lockdown. The Warden is like the best tank for 5e you could ever roll up. And Mad Bomber with no magic. Yeah, there you go. See, that was my thing. I was like, dude, are you serious? You have to be like a magic user to be not like a Mad Bomber Goblin? Like, yeah, you know. Paladin doesn't have an appeal. This one does. This is absolutely, you want to go the peel class. This one feels like you are going to be rolling up and doing the, Paladin is, I can't get these guys off my friends all that much, right? Complete Warden, the Warden is straight up like, if you've ever played a MOBA, you know exactly what this peel is, right? Where like you need to pull people off of your buddies. This is that. This is absolutely that. Anyways, yeah. I had Mike Hollick on the channel, the guy that designed The Alchemist, but it was like 2 or 3 years ago, and the interview camera quality and mic quality is not super great. But Mage Hand Press, really, really great designers. Pugilist, I've had Benjamin here on the channel in the past. Again, one of my favorite designers on Earth. And then, hey, you've got me. So, anyways, yeah, so that is, oh man. WotC's most popular book is their most racist one? What book is that? Do we even want to open up that can of worms right now? Wait, Warden is a feat option in its features? About it, it's kind of busted. No, I don't think, like, okay, feats are supposed to be, feats are supposed to be a way for you to get some of the power that might only be available to other options. It's totally fine. Like, I've had the Warden at the tables before. It feels like it really sticks core to the Sentinel stuff. The tough feat is okay because you're going to be a frontliner. Like, for real. I haven't looked at their Warden in a while, and since we're getting at 3 hours, 35 minutes in, we've gone through this Unearthed Arcana. I'm going to be saving some of that other stuff up for a future video. Anyways, so I'll be talking about some of the other classes I allow at my tables in another video. Thank you all so much for being here. Again, if you're new to the channel and you like my form of analysis, go check out some of my classes, check out some of my other, check out some of my other videos. You guys are starting that whole discussion up there. Campaign hooks, did they fix it in it? Okay, that's going to be a lot of discussion for me to get into while I'm trying to wrap up the stream. So, okay. There we go. So, I hope everyone out there staying safe, staying healthy. And by the way, if you're new to the channel, go check out some of my other content. It feels weird wrapping this up while that conversation is going on in chat. But go check out some of my other content. If you like what you see, why not subscribe, like the videos, all the engagement and stuff. Anyways, check out some of my stuff over on Patreon. I hope you all are staying safe, staying healthy, and I can't wait to see you all in the next one. Have a great day.